Choices, big and small, they define us, make us who we are. And when it comes time for you to choose a car, home, your next big adventure, or start a new business, Farmers Union Insurance has the variety of coverage options to protect each perfect moment. Farmers Union Insurance. Contact your local Farmers Union Insurance agent today.
Wahpeton Deli and Eatery, serving delicious deli staples paired with great service and friendly staff. They use the best ingredients and provide a great atmosphere. If you have an office party or an at-home celebration, Wahpeton Deli and Eatery can help with your next event. And now you can order online for in-store pickup. Check it out at wahpetondeliandeatery.com or call 642-3639.
In this place, we see potential like nowhere else. Here, vision is boundless. That's why we never settle. We look for the moments when everything becomes possible. The moments that inspire us to make every day better. In this place, there's no such thing as good. There's only great. This is orthopedics and sports medicine like nowhere else.
All right, let's just go.
We're going to go?
We're going to go.
All right, I think we're live.
I had something planned, but it's not going to work. So
It's not working.
He's here, so let's just go.
All right. Welcome, everybody, to Three Borders Sports Network, and welcome to the Giants Coaches Show, and it's presented by Red River Communications, and we appreciate everybody joining in with us tonight for our winter season finale. And good evening once again, everybody. Welcome to Three Borders Sports Network and Red River Communications Cable Channel 28. To our Giants Coaches Show, and I'm Joe Schreiner, and the guy over there behind the camera is Brian Watson. Are you on the camera? We don't know what's going on over here. So
You don't need to see anything, so I'm on the camera right now.
So you're the guy behind the curtain.
You're on the camera right now. I am like the Wizard of Oz right now.
Yeah,
I am the man behind
Looks
the
like
curtain.
Walter Cronkite there with that big microphone.
You know what? See, this is what I'm talking about.
yeah.
I don't. Yeah.
Well, we can do that. We can't hear anything. So
It's okay. You don't need to hear me,
no.
so it's all right.
Okay.
So I don't know.
You're not going to be playing Pac-Man or anything.
I might be. I might be playing solitaire while he's talking. So we'll see what happens.
All right. Well, let's get into this. We got Adam Wertzman waiting out here. We got everybody coming tonight. How about that?
We got a
Watson?
full show tonight, so it should be good.
I'm Joe Schreiner. He's Brian Watson, and we put this whole thing together. Welcome to our new set, and welcome to the Wahpeton Huskies boys basketball coach, Jeff Ralph. Jeff, thanks for joining us and being our first guest as always.
Thanks for having me.
Appreciate you coming in and wrapping up the season here, and welcome to our new set here, a little more comfortable.
Wow, really nice. You must have picked all the stuff out.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it was all me.
Stop. Stop.
No, I don't think I dared do that. He'd ask my opinion, and I would agree with whatever he said. So
This chair's about half the size of my recliner at home. But
We don't want you to take up the whole set, and we don't want you to fall asleep either. So we don't want it to be too comfortable.
I don't
It
go to
does
sleep
recline.
before 8:30.
Yeah.
It does recline.
Well, don't tell him that. He's gonna start moving stuff.
Yeah, you might.
Yeah.
All right. Again, welcome to Jeff Ralph. Jeff, the season's over here, unfortunately, for the Huskies, and a 16-9 season. First of all, I know you've been congratulated a million times. It's all over social media. But again, congratulations on Coach of the Year to you in Region 1. So it was a nice award.
It really was, and I think it was unexpected. I mean, Brad Wales, 21-0 at Kindred, and they're really good. I thought he deserved it, but you know what? It's pretty nice when you get it. And I've said before, and I really thought the reaction from the kids, their surprise and their excitement for me. I mean, we spend a lot of time together, and I think sometimes they probably don't really like me that much when the things we're doing in practice. But I tell you what, when something like that happens, it's really nice to see them, and really the award is for them. They make me look pretty smart when they do what we tell them to do, I think all the credit to those kids for their hard work. 65 practices, 25 games. I mean, that's 90 days plus of stuff. So I think they had a great season. I couldn't be more proud of a bunch of kids.
I know you mentioned that in our post-game show after the Grafton game that it was more fun for you to see the boys win, or for you to win the award and to see the boys' and hear the boys' reaction. And I guess through the headset that Brian and I were wearing, we could hear the reaction from the boys. So it gave me goosebumps too to see that and feel that with you. So I understand fully what you mean by that. So again, congratulations.
Thank you.
All right, 16-9 season. Let's just kind of talk about the season overall. You had 4 overtime games. Holy cow! You had a triple overtimer, then you had a double overtime, and then 2 singles after that. You won all 4, but it was quite the season for the Huskies. We'll talk about Region 1 in a minute.
You know that the first one was Shanley, just a Saturday, I think a Saturday afternoon, and just went on and on and on and on. But I think what really came out of that game was just our perseverance and our grit, and I think how kids just make plays and how they step up and do things that maybe are a little out of the ordinary. And I think we saw that in all those games. You know, I went back and looked. I don't think we subbed in any of those overtimes. Like the kids that were in that got us to overtime got the win for us, and I think that says a lot about those kids that played in those situations. And you know, we go to out to Standing Rock after a 300-mile drive, and you know, we're kind of in control of the game. And then a minute to go, and we're up 3, and we foul, and they make all 3, and now we're going to overtime way out there. But again, you know, I think our kids just fought, and that was a tough one on the road. Northern Cass on the road was tough. You know, overtime on the road, and the other crowd is, you know, we're probably supposed to win both of those games, so the other crowd was pretty excited, as were our people. But I think our kids just found a way. They found a way to make some free throws, found a way to make a play, and you know, hats off to them for doing that. You know, it's not like you get to overtime and you dream up some weird play to run that's going to win it for you. I mean, you got to do what you do. And you know, that even the Central Cass one with, you know, we kind of did dream up a play there with Jack. We got an 8th grader on the floor, and we ran a play to give him a bucket to win the game for us. So, you know, I think the kids will look back with, you know, on this season with those games in mind, that how tough they were, and then just how fortunate we were to come out with a win.
Before we get to Region 1, you did take a couple of long road trips this year. You went, and you and I and Brian were talking about it before the show came on, Coach, about, you know, playing other regions and getting experience in the other regions. You made a trip up to Region 3, and I think you made a trip to Region 4, taking on Standing Rock. You took on Beulah and Killdeer on another long road trip. So just how valuable was that to you as a team?
Well, I think they are. Number one, it you know, it's some bonding time where you're together a lot. And you know, I took a picture when we were on the Standing Rock trip of about 20 boys in the hot tub at the motel, and you know, I think that was kind of one of those pictures that defines the season maybe a little bit, where the camaraderie of the kids. So that was pretty cool. But you know, going up to Beulah, I mean, Coach Sherrato said to me, you know, there's going to be more people here tonight than we have for a Dickinson Trinity game, and that's their big rival. And then talking to him after, he said, yeah, there was. This place was packed.
Wow.
And you know, the atmosphere was great. You know, we again had an opportunity to win and kind of went cold in the 4th quarter, but a great experience. And then you got to turn around and go to Killdeer and do it again the next day, and in a, you know, just a palace of a school, and a pretty good team. They end up in the state tournament. I think to go out there and get a split was good. You know, we kind of thought we could win both, but we got a split on the road, and then, you know, getting to go to Standing Rock, they're a good team, and they were right there, you know, with an opportunity to make it to the state qualifying game, and lost that 3rd and 4th place game. But you know, I think our schedule was really good. I think it was loaded with good teams, and I think that gets you ready for the region tournament. And, you know, arguably, Region 1 and Region 2 are Which one's tougher, I don't know, but they're two tough regions, and we both got two teams in the state tournament. So
Yeah.
I'd say, probably the two toughest teams, or the two toughest regions, were out here, and unfortunately we had to play them to go to state.
That's
So.
just it. And let's take a look now at Region 1 here, Coach. And again, Region 1, you got the number 2 seed. You go in as the number 2 seed. So the bracket's set up the way that you thought it would be. You're going to face the number 6 team in Oak Grove and come away with a nice win there for the boys. And then you take on Valley City, and that was a 3-point win, a tight game there.
Yeah, really a tight game. And, I think when I looked at that game on film and statistically, it really came down to our post play. I think, I made sure I wrote it down, our post outscored them 17-2. And then we out-rebounded them 11-8, and free throws was 10 and 14, where they were only 3 of 6. So we really, I think, dominated the paint in that game, and that was crucial. We didn't shoot it particularly well. Coop and Trey and Bjorn, never really got anything going in that game perimeter-wise, but I think going to the basket, we really, that's our game. I think that's what we have to do. We don't want to settle for perimeter jumpers, and our kids attack the basket. And I think came out with a gutty win. I mean, that was a tight game right to the end, and a team that we played 3 times and fortunate enough to win 2. So on to the championship, and then, I mean, what a tough team they are.
Yeah, you got to face number 1 Kindred going into that game, and that's the way the bracket sets up, and you got to face the number 1 to get through it and do that. And you played them well for 3 quarters.
We really did. I thought our game plan was really good defensively. We put Trey on. Carson Ossie, a fantastic player and about a foot taller than Trey, and told him to be physical with him and be in his face and don't let him get the ball. And I thought we did a really good job of that for 3 quarters. And I really thought offensively, in the first half, Cooper and Trey, I mean, they just carried us in the first half, had 22 of our 26 points. Coop was 3 of 6 from 3, and Trey was on fire early in that game, and I thought we we're in a good position. And then we get to that end of the third quarter, and we're only down 7, and we're thinking, all right, here we go now. And then, we just didn't get anything going in the fourth quarter. And I think, their defense had a lot to do with that. We're still in attack mode and trying to go to the rim, and then they got going. I mean, they just got going in transition, and probably a couple big dunks there. And we got dunked on so much in the EDC. When someone dunks it on us, it's like whatever. I mean, I don't.
Right.
It's 2
It's
points.
not the big deal anymore.
It's 2 points.
Yeah.
So to me, I don't worry about that so much unless you feel like a huge momentum shift, or maybe you need a timeout. But I thought our kids really, they battled and did everything we had to, and it was just, they made a run in that fourth quarter, and we just couldn't match it. Even being down 7, I thought we were in a great place. I mean, 2 times before we're down 20 or more going into the fourth quarter. So I thought we were in a good place and had them, where we needed them to be.
So you take on the number 1 team in the state, and then all of a sudden there's an upset up in Region 2. And the number 2 team in the state loses, and they fall to the number 3 spot. So in the cross bracketing that there is, the number 2 team that you are has to face the number 3 team in Region 2.
Yep.
And that happens to be Grafton, who, and the last ranking was the number 2 team in the state.
Thompson upset them in the semifinal. So then they played in the 3rd place game, and they're a really good team. They actually took the number 1 seed into the tournament with Devils Lake and 4 wins. So I mean, they had a quality season, and again, I thought a team that I thought we matched up pretty well with, a team that I thought quickness-wise maybe matched us on the perimeter. That doesn't happen a lot.
Right.
Sometimes they get away with some of their slower guys because they're 6'5" and we're 5'10". But I thought again we had a good plan. We got a great start. We end up 9-0 to start, and And then, the ball was just rolling out. I mean, I really didn't realize how poorly offensive we had played until I got the film back and watched it and looked at the stats. And I mean, when you shoot 29%, and really the baseline for us is 1 point per possession. If we can get 1 point per possession, we feel like we have a really good chance to win. And they were at 0.85, which is good, but then we were only 0.63 points per possession. So when you look at that, I mean, we just struggled to score. And looking at the film again after, which is just, I mean, it's heartbreaking. I mean, we wanted to play tomorrow, but I mean, great shots. I mean, we had opportunities to go to the free throw line and make shots. We didn't shoot it well at the free throw line. We had opportunities right at the basket to score, and for whatever reason, they just rolled out Saturday. And it wasn't for lack of effort. I thought our kids just defended great and put ourselves in position. They average about 65 points a game, and we held them to 48, but we just couldn't get anything going. So a tough day, a tough end for us, but I thought, our kids gave us everything they had, and that was for 25 games. So I was pretty happy with
good
them
effort.
boys.
And that was 4 games in 5 days there for them too. So that was a pretty good stretch there. So
A pretty tough stretch when you got to play 1 and 2,
1 and 2 in the state
with a day off in between, and they're the 3rd and 4th.
Yep.
But
All right, before we talk about the seniors here, Coach, let's talk about what you got coming up next year. Let's take a look at the underclass and see what you got coming.
yeah, well, I think first of all, maybe let's, we had 3 all-region players, which
We got.
man, we haven't had 3 all-region or all-conference players for a long, long time, probably ever. Jaden King, our post guy, 15 points a game, 7 boards, just had a great season, got voted right away in the voting to that all-conference team. And Braden Steffens has been really a leader for us with the ball in his hands, the vast majority of the game, and did a great job for us. He got on the board right away. I mean, everybody realized what a player he was. And then Trayton Mauk, I was wondering, maybe we could get Trayton and Cooper. I didn't know. Statistically, Cooper's stats didn't shake out to be all region, and Trey was close. But once he got up there and they started looking at where does he fall with the guys that are left, and it was clearly obvious Trey deserves that too. Good. So we got 3 guys on the all region team, which I was really proud of.
Congratulations! I wanted to mention that too, and I forgot to put it on my notes.
Coming back next year. When you look at Braden Steffens, you have your point guard back. I feel so fortunate that it's going to be 2 more years with Braden.
He's just a junior next year.
When you have a point guard coming back, you feel pretty good about it, like building around that. Right. Bjorn and Trey. Bjorn probably only averaged 5 points a game, and I was really a kid that was a good defender. He couldn't lock anybody down, but he could cause trouble for a shooter. And that's a lot of times where we put him, and just did a great job defensively for us. We need some more scoring from Bjorn. But, he had a great game in Valley with 6 threes, and I think that's something that's in his, it's in his makeup. He's just got to start doing that for us. So Trayton Mauk, a lockdown defender, and just a fantastic athlete that I think is going to get better. We need more scoring from him off the dribble. He's a great pull-up jumper, great at getting to the rim. And, with those 3 coming back, then it's a matter of, where do we piece in with our other guys? We need some size. Landon played off the bench for us with some size. He can hit the 3. I think a player kind of like Cooper, he's going to have to get a little more savvy, I think. Cooper, just a great year for him, and I think some of that hopefully rubbed off on Landon. Jackson DeVries could be another one that kind of fills in that spot. I think a different kind of player, a little quicker, a little faster kid that can maybe get out on transition. Then we saw Jack Gilbertson, the 8th grader. A fearless kid.
Nothing shook him.
No. I mean, so those guys coming back, and then Carter Hockert played some really good minutes for us. There's guys that are available. I think the young King boy, the 8th grader that we brought along at the end of the year, I think he could maybe sneak in somewhere if he, hopefully he'd grow. And then Alex Cummings, I think at about 6'3" or 6'4" right now, He might be a guy that we can put in the middle of the lane and protect the basket, get a bunch of rebounds, and maybe put one back and dunk it. Maybe I mean I think we have some pieces. We got to figure out where they're going to fit, but I really like the guys we have coming back.
All right, so now let's talk about the seniors that we want to say thanks to, and thanks for the leadership and everything, Coach. Just wanted to recognize your seniors.
Yeah, I talked about Jaden already. Just a scorer and a rebounder, and did a lot for us. Cooper, I've said it before. I think the best teammate I've ever coached, and just the best leader I've ever coached, vocally and through his actions. And I think when you look at his body of work this year, we talked about it at open gym when Cooper's making 5 threes in a row in open gym. It's like, if this guy can shoot it, that's going to really help us. And he did. He led us in 3-pointers made. So, I think those two on the court really were leaders for us and good players for us. Noah Berge came out like a house of fire the first couple games, had that sprained ankle, and we just, he just couldn't get back in the lineup and gave us everything he had in practice. Matt Cummings, a big kid in the second year of basketball. You probably should be playing 9th grade now, maybe. I mean, he's better than a 9th grade player, but he's only been playing ball for 2 years, and to come into our practice, and I think the first few days he was wondering what he got himself into. But I tell you what, the kid came to practice today every day, worked his butt off, gave us everything he had, and I think really was really a good experience for him to be around all those guys. Made some new friends, and I think really became a part of our team and a part that everyone looked to for. Maybe a little humor once in a while, which the kid never talked to us for a whole year last year, and now he's cracking jokes. But that's a fun kid to have out. And then last and certainly not least, Nick Langenwelter, a kid who didn't get a lot of minutes this year, but I tell you what, you come to practice and you find out who the hardest worker is. And I mentioned it before, we talked about it at the play-in game, how we had to tell Nick to back off because he's got one speed and that's fast and he works hard. And I think those lessons that Nick, it was maybe tough for him to watch all the time, but I think if he can persevere through that as a kid, and I think there's only good things in store for Nick in the future. So I'm so proud of those 5 for being the leaders they were. And I got my end of year reviews back, and several of the boys mentioned how our senior leadership really was good for us this year. And when you see that from the players, that really says it's true. Yep. What I say, maybe I don't see everything, but they really look to those seniors for leadership.
That means a lot. Yeah. So it was overall pretty good season for the Huskies. Just take a quick mention your assistant coaches there too, Coach.
Real quick. I mean, Joe Caveney. I think year 75 coaching for Joe. He's been coaching a long time. Started out with the girls, and he moved into an assistant position. So he was just with me, and the guy watched more film than anybody, I think, this year. And just a great job. A guy that kind of balances me out a little bit. Pretty level-headed guy. Casey Materi moved into our JV spot. Did a great job along with Jordan Ralph, our C squad. They worked together in practice. And those two, we put a lot on those guys to do more film and save me some time at night. And they really did that, and both did a great job with their teams. Both finished over 500. I think Casey about 13-6 or 7 or something. Jordan was, I think, 14-6 or something. So really good seasons.
Yep.
Then Andrew Lundsetter took a 9th grade team up in the FM League and really had a great season, finished above 500. We were wondering if they were even going to win a game this year, and they really kind of came together, a group of them, and did really well. And I think we got some good things coming based on what those coaches at our lower levels did.
Awesome. All right, I think I'm going to let you go here. B-Dub, you got anything for Coach before we let him go?
Well, just come here and get your own show, I guess. I don't know.
Well, if we wouldn't start 15 minutes late.
I mean, I was ready to go, and then you walked in. Of course, something's not right. So it's just the way it is. I'm just used to it now.
Can I say, though, I had 3 boarders. Just personally for me, my folks get to watch everything. I know Mom and Dad are watching now, and probably my brothers. And it really means a lot. I mean, and I know
Thank
it's
you.
not just my family. There's a lot of people out there that can't get to the games, and they want to hear the Wahpeton side of it. And
Thank
you know,
you.
there's other entities out there, but we're really lucky in Wahpeton to have you guys doing this, and I really appreciate it.
We have fun.
Yeah,
So we
we
give you a
appreciate
hard
it.
time, but we still have fun.
Well, I all kind of do enjoy coming here.
Yeah, I know. So.
All right, head coach Jeff Ralph, Wahpeton boys Husky coach. You got golf coming up next, I suppose.
We do. A few
When's that
weeks. We'll
start?
get started with that
Couple
April
weeks?
8th. So
April 8th.
we'll see. I haven't played yet. I'm sure Watson probably played 5
I
times.
haven't yet.
I know he's
I
been
have
in the
not
simulator.
played yet.
He's-
I've been to simulator, but I have not played. So
Whatever.
It's coming.
Yeah, it's coming. All right, we got all kinds of coaches here tonight, and Adam Wertzum is the other coach of the year here that we've got coming up next, and Adam Wertzum will be joining us shortly. Thanks again, Jeff.
You bet. Thank
All
you.
right, we'll be right back.
The folks at Tyler Farm Supply understand that farming is hard work, and that's why they only offer durable and reliable short-line farm equipment that you can depend on. Whether you're a small-scale farmer or manage a large operation, they have the tools that you need to get the job done quickly and efficiently. Plus, with their competitive pricing and financing options, Tyler Farm Supply makes it easy for you to get the equipment you need without breaking the bank. Give them a call today, 701-642-8827.
Every business begins with an idea. With dedication, hard work, and high-speed broadband, that idea can grow into something giant. The member organizations that form BAND are proud to support North Dakota businesses every step of the way, from the soil to the stadium. The Broadband Association of North Dakota, helping North Dakotans grow bright ideas into big business.
Smith Motors in Wahpeton, we make sure that when you need a vehicle, we'll find the perfect one that matches your lifestyle and budget. Like the eye-catching Chevy Equinox, the powerful, always dependable Chevy Silverado, or the rugged, hard-working GMC Sierra. Since 1960, Smith Motors has provided an excellent automotive buying experience. From low-pressure sales to high-quality service, our customers always come first. Find your new Chevrolet or GMC today at Smith Motors. Small-town friendly, big-town deals.
There we go. I got it. I got
you
it
got music
fixed.
now?
Yeah, I got it fixed.
Are you happy?
So I'm extremely happy right now. So we'll see what happens.
All right. Welcome back, everybody, to the Giants Coaches Show, presented by Red River Communications here in Red River Communications Cable Channel 28. Want to thank Red River Communications again, everybody, because of what they did for us during the tournament season, Brian. They stepped up and helped us with all the fees that we had to pay for different section and region fees. So thanks, Red River Communications.
Yeah, it'll be really tough for us to do what we did without any help. So
Yes.
we appreciate everything that they did for us.
Yep. So that's going to wrap that up, and we'll move on now. And Mr. Ralph was just a little lengthy, so we're a little bit behind.
A little bit.
So we're a little bit behind, but
He's trying to smooth all the coaches
yeah,
right
he
now.
is. He's back there smooth talking to everybody.
He's just
so
blaming on me.
he didn't grab a beverage or anything yet, though.
No,
I was
he
waiting
will.
for him.
He
He
will.
will. I hope he does. We're joined by Section 6A Coach of the Year. How about that? Adam Wertzema and the BW Blades hockey team. Adam, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I guess I was kind of taken off guard by that when I got the email with how the section coaches.
Oh, that's how they let you know, was
yeah,
by
I
an
found
email?
it through an email, and then they just kind of let you know. And then at the state tournament, I think they posted in the Minnesota Hockey Coaches Association puts it on their site. So no, it was a good feeling. And obviously, I had coaches reach out to me right away in the section and let me know that I deserve it. And
Well, that's pretty cool. I thought that was pretty cool. I saw it on Facebook, is the first place that I saw it, and it was. again, it's got to be a pretty good feeling. I mean, you led the team to, what, 5 wins this year, I think, and but it still has to be pretty good and show what you're doing with the boys.
Oh yeah, and that's, I think Alexandria's coach is one of the guys who reached out to me right away, and they've won the section the past 3 years.
Right, they went to state.
And we've also ended our season with them the past 3 years, so he's been able to see, what our year-end product was. And last year after the game, we lost, and I think it was 7-0 at the end of the second period, and in the past, it had been double digits by the end of the first period. So it got away from us a little bit in the third period, but he said, you know what, that game got away from me a little bit, but that you got a better team now, and you guys are doing the right things. Just keep doing what you're doing. So to hear that from a coach like that, who's been around, respected, and has had the success that, where we want to be with their program.
Right.
It was good to hear from him. But it was, I take it as a staff-wide award. Like, James Bass has been around for 10 years, and he's awesome. He's got incredible loyalty to the program, and he's stepped in, and he's a great guy, a great addition, knows the game. And then Bob Lane, who's been around forever. He's coached a long time, and without their support, our staff, we wouldn't be able to do what we're doing. So
that is very true. We had Coach Ralph talk about his assistant coaches, so I'm glad you brought it up and talk about your guys too as well. So just talk about the season in general, Coach. Again, you last year was a 1-win season for you, but this year you improved to 5. You had some pretty good seniors on the team. We'll talk about them at the end and what they meant to the team too as well. But just as a season in general, attitudes and how the boys ended up coming into the season.
Yeah, well, I think obviously you can't just go straight to the top right away. You're going to have these seasons, and after the past 2 years we've had where we only had one win in the past 2 years, right? We're going to have this season where we got to make a step, and I thought we made a pretty good step this year.
Yep.
We had 6 freshmen, 14 sophomores, and then three juniors and 2 seniors. So we're very young. We're loaded on the bottom end. So we were asking a lot of kids, to go in there and play against kids who were maybe 2 or 3 years older than them.
You didn't play that many junior varsity games, did you?
We had a
few.
We had a good schedule. And
did you?
We're going to have more. I think we got to maybe 18, 19 games, and
okay.
So we're going to be building more JV games into the schedule. But no, it was one of those seasons where, we had some high points and some low points, like with the youth that we had, and just the consistency. And a lot of the games that we lost, they were games where we outshot the other team. And we actually took it to them, and we just couldn't score, whatever. Just the puck didn't go the way we wanted. Big win for us, I thought, was against Wadena, which I think was our second win, and we won 5-1 that game. And the thing about it is, what I liked is that we gave up 9 shots.
Yep.
And we had 45 shots ourselves.
And that is the difference. I mean, we did a couple of your games, and that was the shots on goal versus the last 2 years were way higher this year. Now, I'm not a big hockey guy, so I don't understand everything, but when you got that many more shots on goal, you got more chances of that puck going in the net.
Exactly, and just when you're playing in your end, that you want to score, right?
Yep.
The puck's 180 feet away from your net where they can score, so always the best defense is having the puck that
there you
far
go.
away from the net. And we're preaching in probably a style that not a ton of high school teams play, but we want to play a puck possession game. We want to keep the puck. If they don't have the puck, if we have the puck, they don't, right?
Yep,
and in that game against Wadena, we had the puck the whole game. And when you don't have it, you have to chase.
Yep.
When chasing tires you out. And, I take that, and then when all of a sudden we had to go to Wadena probably a month later, and we didn't take care of the puck like we did at home here, and we let a team kind of hang around, and that built them some confidence. They ended up beating us over there. So that was a frustrating one, because you can see, what we're capable against them a game before.
The same team,
But so it's just that inconsistency. But the guys, from this year, probably the most frustration we've had, and good frustration. Like, guys, they want to improve, and they don't want the same outcomes anymore. And one thing that really came about the season was our intensity and our work ethic in practice was awesome. And that's where it starts.
Yep, that's where it starts, is at the practice level and how things go. One of the other games that I want to mention as a win there, Coach, was your overtime win against Kitson. That was a fun game too.
Yeah, that was another game where we just outshot them, outplayed them, and just we couldn't get the goal scoring right. But then we finally were able to break through in the last 2 minutes of the third period to tie it up, and then we scored a minute or two into
it wasn't very far into it.
So it's like sometimes when you score, you get that monkey off your back, and the kids start playing with more confidence. So that was exciting.
And then it was January. That was January 12th. Then on January 19th, a week later, you go up there, and then pretty convincing 8-1 win.
Yeah, and that just shows the difference in the consistency of keeping the puck and possessing it and making them chase. Because that game we made them chase the whole game, and by the end of the third, or middle of the third period, they're wore down.
They were
They
done.
don't have their legs anymore, and that's when we scored. I think half our goals make it, and that's the first time that I've been here that they call it running time. You know, if
Yep.
you
Oh,
go
yeah,
over
yeah,
6
yeah.
goals in
Yep.
the third period, the clock runs. So the boys were happy to get that running time.
How about that?
Get on the bus and get home a little earlier.
Well, and again, it was a good season that way for you, Coach, and again, Coach of the Year in Section 6A. Unfortunately, you do go in as the number 8 seed into the tournaments, and you face that number 1 team, Alexandria, like you talked about, and of course, Alexandria goes on to the state tournament, but
Right.
respectable showing at the section tournament, I'm sure.
Yeah, well, it's, the thing about it is the 4th seed was Morris Benson this year. And we played them at home our last regular season game
Yep,
at home. And,
yep.
and we outshot them. I think we outplayed them for about 45 minutes out of the 51. But there was a 3-4 minute stretch there where they scored 4 goals. And so if that's the 4 seed, and we're taking it to them.
And you're right there.
We're there. It's the margin of error as you get into these tighter games is way smaller, and we got to learn that taking care of the puck and making smart decisions in those games. It makes all the difference.
All right, so the future looks bright. You talked about the 2 seniors. We'll talk about them in a minute. But your underclassmen coming up, you got a lot of bright things. I know your goaltender is. He was
Cale
just he's a
Gilbertson.
freshman.
Yeah, he's a freshman.
Yeah.
And started the most of our games, and
He looks big in the net.
yeah, he's got good size, and he's a competitor. And
Yep.
but we got David Beam's a good goaltender. He's going to challenge too. So that's
Sure.
one thing that's
Yep.
nice. We have 2 goaltenders who are going to challenge each other in practice, and then some big things like we had a freshman Jackson Lopez lead our team in scoring. Right, for a freshman to do that,
That's pretty
That's a
good.
pretty good thing. And then we had Matt Peterson
Yep.
play our top pairing
Yep.
on the defenseman and he's doesn't have a huge size, but he has a huge heart. And plays
Yes.
really hard, and he was a freshman too. So, those guys we're going to have them back for at least 3 years, right?
Yep.
And so having those guys come up and play the way they did, and I mean we're going to have Josh Hoffman,
Yep.
Easton Nepple, Isaiah Brushard. Everyone calls him Larry. I got to make sure I say his name right sometimes. But
What is it? What do they call
his
him?
nickname's Larry. So
Larry.
Everyone calls him Larry Brushard. And
I had not heard that.
yeah, so I think they announced it a few times when he started at the rink during games. But and then we're gonna have Trey Vogelbacher back, who'll be a senior,
Yep.
and just I think we grew a lot this year. And these kids, maybe they'll be sophomores, but they got more varsity experience. They're gonna be more like juniors, hopefully.
And that's something that means a lot too. You can get a lot of freshmen that'll play varsity sports, but in that freshman, sophomore, maybe even up to a junior year, they're still maturing a little bit. I mean, they're still catching up to their body.
Well, yeah, it's
and
a big,
things like that.
It's a big change from even sophomore to
Yeah.
senior years, and those are the kids
Yeah.
who are supposed to be playing varsity. But
Yep.
we have a Bantam team now, which that's usually your 8th and 9th graders. And in the past, they didn't have that. They went straight from 7th grade to JV. So
Right.
this coming year, we won't have any freshmen on the team. Our whole team will be made up of sophomores, juniors, and seniors. So
That's awesome.
we'll have a varsity roster. Kids of age. So then those 8th and 9th grade years are big years for those kids to play Bantams.
Yep.
And play a few more games.
All right, so let's talk about the seniors and what they meant to you and the team.
Yeah, well, Jace Johansson's obviously, he was probably our most consistent player, and he played 5 years of varsity.
Yep.
Our top defenseman just played a lot of tough minutes.
He was not afraid to take a hit or give
no,
a hit.
and he is always playing against the best players from the
Yep.
other team, and he was a good leader and just kind of, took control of the locker room.
Yep.
Was a good voice in there, and he did a lot of things for us that we're going to miss next
Yep.
year. And then we got Brady DeVries.
Sure.
And Brady,
It was only his second or third year out, wasn't it? Here,
well, he actually took a year off.
that's what it was.
And the first year that I was going to be coaching here, we were so low numbers, and I talked to some people around the community, and I said, hey, what are some names that quit hockey here in the past few years? I'm going to call them up and see if we can get them back out to help get us some better numbers. And so I met Brady and his parents at the brew, and we talked it over, and sure enough, 2 weeks later, he let me know that, I'm going to come back out for hockey.
That's cool.
And we're fortunate he did, because he played
He played a
bunch of
good-
minutes for us, too. He was on that second pairing, and I wish we could have kept him in that whole time. Those years, he didn't miss any years because those are big years for him. But he came in, great attitude, really smart kid.
Yep.
Works hard. Takes attention to detail. And I think with the time he had left and what he did, he maximized it.
That's awesome.
And he played a ton, and I'm glad he came back out.
That's awesome. All right, and you mentioned your assistant coaches. Anybody else you want to talk about here, Coach, before I let you go?
No, I think that's everyone. I think.
Okay. Well,
I know it's taking a bigger role working with the youth coaches now, and so we look at it as our whole program. We have a whole program staff from the younger ages all the way up to the high school ages, because they're going to be up at the high school level at some point. So I think all the youth coaches here did a great job. And then obviously, lastly, thank you for you guys for giving us the exposure and coming, covering a few games. And
We try.
at least this year is a little warmer in the rink most nights.
It
Without
was,
the
it
negative
was.
40 degrees. You could kind of come in with just your normal winter jacket and not have to have the.
Right.
Did Watson have a onesie on the one time?
I might have. It's cold in there.
He's got electric hand heaters and everything, so he's all bundled.
I get it from my dad. So I'm well prepared.
All right, Adam, we're excited to see what's going to happen with BW's Blades hockey team next year, and hopefully there's a girls team next year. I don't know. I haven't heard any numbers for next year, but
Yeah, I haven't really either, but that's something they're working on, and
I'm sure
hopefully
they're
they can
working
find
on
a
it.
co-op or some agreement like that.
well, we're looking forward to what you guys got coming next year. It'll be fun.
Great, appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.
All right, Adam Wirtz, I'm a head coach of the BW Blades hockey team. I think we got Grace Brent and Ryan both sitting in the wings here, so we'll have one of those guys coming up next year right here on Three Border Sports. We'll be right back.
Yield Advantage is proud to support our local Twin Town teams. They'd like to remind farmers that the Yield Advantage team is ready to help you get the W next planting season. They can help get your equipment in game shape with upgrades large and small. Yield Advantage is your local precision planting premier dealer. From row cleaners to closing wheels, seed meters to liquid fertilizer systems, and everything in between. If you want to give yourself a competitive edge next season, contact Yield Advantage today.
A local insurance team ready to serve you. American Family Insurance, Miller and Associates, providing home, auto, life, farm, and business insurance. As residents of your community, they understand how important it is to be there for you, their trusted friends and neighbors. Together, they're building strong partnerships that help everyone succeed. American Family Insurance, Miller and Associates, a proud supporter of high school athletics.
And we hope to see you at American Family Insurance, Miller Associates.
And pretty quick. Yeah, we had two EDC qualifiers as well. They made the all region team.
Okay. All right, so we're back here at Three Border Sports Network. We don't have the headsets on anymore, so
No,
we
we
can't hear
don't.
commercials anymore, but we're back here.
I'm
Brian.
in full control. So
I know,
like
and that scares me. Welcome back to the Giants Coaches Show, everybody, presented by Red River Communications and Red River Communications Cable Channel 28. And we're in our coach number 3 here, and we're running a little bit behind schedule, but I appreciate everybody for hanging with us and being a part of it. And also welcome to our new set here, Grace. We've got a little bit of a different setting, and Coach Ralph was in sweatpants tonight, so he was complaining as soon as he walked in. He had sweatpants on, and he says, "Where'd the table go?" So
he wanted to hide behind the table.
yeah, he wanted to hide
So,
behind the tables.
He
Basically,
can't do
what it
that
was.
anymore, so
No.
he'll have to dress up.
No. And my son has texted me and asked me if Wahpeton Breckenridge had an IndyCar team because he saw the IndyCar sitting back over there in the corner. And I said, yeah, the Wahpeton Breckenridge team is sponsoring a IndyCar team now.
We have to try and represent every sport that we can.
Well, you got some of your favorite sport things here, and I got some of mine.
I got some stuff yet to still.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there's.
we've still
let's,
got
Let's just say there's going to be some Steeler gear going up at some point.
No.
So you
Really?
got Viking stuff right behind you. What are you talking
Did
about?
I? What?
Yeah. Okay. Whatever. Whatever.
All right, we're joined now by BW Storm gymnastics coach. That's Grace Brent. Grace, thanks again for coming back.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Appreciate you coming back. We had a little lull there in the whole winter season here where we didn't have a coaches show, but a lot of things were going on, and vacations and park board meetings and tournament games and everything going on, but we're finally here, and we're going to wrap it up here tonight. So thanks for coming back, and let's talk about, I think one of the things that you had there was the EDC tournament since last time we talked. So let's talk about the EDC tournament there that the girls went to. And actually, I think they had a pretty good showing.
Yeah, the EDC meet went really well. With the number of teams in the East, there are 4 schools, or 4 teams represented, and we placed second. We were behind Grand Forks, and they have a full roster. They had 9 girls on their team this year, and so they were able to fill. And then specifically when you get to EDC and state, you choose who are your top 4 scorers that you really want in each of the events. And they have that depth of a roster to work with, whereas, we had 4 girls all season, and so we worked with what we had, and it really pushed everyone to show up for each event at every meet. But we had a really good showing. We placed 2nd overall, and then Haley Hansen and Elise Scoville both made the All-EDC team. They were nominated for it by their peers. So, yeah.
That's good, and I'm glad you brought that up because I did forget to ask Adam if they had any Section 6A hockey players, but Coach Ralph talked about his region players too as well. But so the EDC went pretty well for the girls, and so now next up is the state tournament.
Yes, we went all the way out to Dickinson and back for the state meet, and it went really well overall. The girls competed for individual day, and so Haley Hansen, Justice Christian, and Elise Scoville had qualified to compete on the individual day. And Elise and Haley had both qualified in the all-around, so they compete all 4 events. And then they had also individually qualified. Haley had qualified on vault, beam, and floor, and then Elise had qualified on bars and floor as well. And so
as individuals.
Yep, as individuals. So it's really cool to see those scoring opportunities. Scoring in gymnastics just works a little bit differently, where if you qualify in the all-around, you compete all 4 events, but if you don't qualify, say, for bars, you can't place on bars. Even though you competed on it as part of the all-around, you have to qualify in the individual event in order to place in that event.
Gotcha.
So just some of the nuanced rules of gymnastics. But it went really, really well. Like I said, both Haley and Elise were all-around qualifiers, and then Justice had qualified individually on vault, bars, and floor. So we did our best. It was a long season.
Yeah.
We did a lot of travel. At the end of the season, we put over 5,000 miles on the Suburban.
Wow, that was going to be one of my questions I got on my notes over here for you, but you traveled a lot this year. I mean, you went not just to Valley City or James, you traveled out west.
Yes, so the state is divided into our 2 sections, WDA and EDC. But in gymnastics, the sections or the regions don't necessarily mean the same thing that they do for other sports. We frequently do compete in the Western region just to get some coaching and feedback from judges as well. But that then brings with it the travel. I know next year we've already kind of finalized our schedule, and we have a back-to-back meet where we go Dickinson and then Bismarck, a Friday, Saturday, and then we'll do a back-to-back meet, Minot, and then Ray, North Dakota. Ray has a team that popped up about 3 years ago. Yeah, so we'll do 2 long-haul weekends next year.
Wow. And you'll still have your own meet here, I'm sure.
Yep, we have 2 meets in December. The Tuesday and Thursday right before Christmas break is what we are on the schedule for. So weather pending, maybe we get another crazy winter like we got this year where it's 50s and 60s.
How about that? Okay, let's talk about you first. Well, let's talk about the assistant coach. You do have one assistant coach, correct?
No, I am.
You were all by yourself?
Yep.
I thought why did I think you had one assistant?
Kind of a one-woman show. I drive the Suburban. I coach at the meets. This year was really helpful, actually. We had a manager this year. Last year, my first year coaching, we didn't have a manager. And this year, Anya Warney came out as our team manager, and she was honestly a godsend. She was super helpful with moving equipment, helping with music, especially when we get to meets like the state meet. Girls are rotating individually, and so there would be a time when I'm on vault, trying to set a springboard, time a warm-up, while I have another girl competing at the same time on floor, and her music has to be played all the way across of a gymnasium. And so having a team manager, so especially someone who's as organized as Anya Warney is, was an incredible saving grace during that.
Was she with you all season?
She was with us all season, yep. Okay. There were only 2 meets that she couldn't make it to due to prior commitments, but she was always loading and unloading equipment, keeping stats. She was a great positive presence too. Sometimes I think it's helpful for athletes to be able to go to someone and either verbally process or just hang out with someone who's maybe in a lower stakes environment because they're not actively competing. She was just a great resource all around for our team this year.
And at the state meet, I also have to give, and I know you did on your Facebook page, but you also mentioned Sydney.
Yes.
She was a big help out there too as well. So
she has been wonderful, and she is someone who, just being around her personality, the incredible way that she can connect with anyone, whether or not there's commonalities between her and someone else. She is a constant positive presence. There's very, very few things that can get her down. And when you start talking about things like dedication and work ethic and willingness to support others, kind of regardless of circumstances, she's really someone who comes to mind for me. And again, when we start talking about, okay, what are the goals of high school sports and activities? What are we trying to do for these students? We want to create lifelong leaders and team players. And even though gymnastics is a very individual sport, I think she really embodies, Sydney is the embodiment in my mind of that team player. She might not be the best person on our roster, but she's walking away from this sport with the work ethic, the dedication, the collaboration, the problem-solving skills, all of those things that we want to see in students in high school sports and activities. I think she's really done it.
And is she a senior?
She is a senior.
So she was one of your seniors, and I think you had one other senior that we should talk about.
Yep, Anya was a manager. She was a senior. Sydney's a senior, and then Haley Hansen from Breckenridge is also a senior. And she is someone who can be a consistently high scorer. She knows that she's capable of scoring really well across all areas of competition. And sometimes it's just a matter of a points game with her. What are the best skills that she's capable of doing to score the most points, to have the cleanest routines in different areas of competition? And I think she realized that kind of going into this season as well, that she would need to bring that consistency to the table in terms of scoring. She is capable of doing it. It's just a matter of her knowing that she's capable and then executing on it. And that was really helpful, again, given the limited depth of our roster during this season, that she was able to do that.
So you don't see a lot of seniors in the gymnasium. I mean, it seems like it's always the younger girls. So how does it look for younger girls coming up next year for BW Gymnastics?
Yeah, so we have Elise Scovolt, who's a 9th grader. She'll be a 10th grader next year coming back. Justice Christian, she's a 10th grader. She had only a handful of meets this year. We were battling some pretty chronic injuries, and so we're doing a lot of PT, prehab, rehab stuff to try to be on top of that, taking spring off to hopefully come back and start working into it again this summer.
Okay.
But currently we have 3 students, 3 middle schoolers from Roseholt, South Dakota, who come up, and they're on our pre-team comp team actually at Three Rivers Gymnastics here in town. And they've done competitions, they've done club competitions through USAG and Excel. And so they know how to do competitive gymnastics, they understand the concept of routines. And right now we're actively working with Roseholt, South Dakota to do a tri-state co-op right now. So they could be eligible then to compete for high school gymnastics starting next fall.
That would be cool.
Yeah, it would be great. There's a lot of younger kids too, in even the recreational classes at Three Rivers that we see coming from places like Wheaton, Roseholt, Breckenridge, Rothsay. We even get some kids from Colfax, Abercrombie coming down to Wahpeton versus going north to Fargo. So it's a really cool opportunity, and I'd love to see this co-op go through so we can continue to pull some of those numbers for our program.
When you got all of Fargo doing one, well, I guess,
Well, exactly. Yep.
Why can't we?
Exactly.
All right, Grace. Grace Brandt, Coach, you got anything for Grace?
No, I don't. I just like hearing her talk, so.
She's a good speaker.
We can just let her go. I'd rather hear her talk than Ralph talk, so.
Maybe you should tell my husband that.
Brian.
As he's sitting in the back room.
Are you in trouble?
He hangs out with Ralph too much, maybe.
I suppose. I mean, they work together, so yeah, it's all right.
I think their classrooms are pretty close to each other too, aren't they?
I think sometimes they're in the same gym. So.
Yeah, maybe that's what it is. All right, Grace Brandt, congratulations on the good season, and better luck next year, and keep it up. And I'm sure things will go well, and congratulations to your seniors too as well.
Thank you, we appreciate it, and we're glad you guys have a new space, a new setup.
Hey,
it's exciting to see everything that Three Borders is doing. This is awesome.
We're trying to do some things.
We're doing our best.
All right, Grace Brandt, head coach of the BW Storm Gymnastics Squad. We got Ryan Brandt coming up next. He's got the BW Storm Wrestling team coming up right here on Three Borders Sports Network.
Since 1941, Minn Kota Ag Products has been helping farmers with their agricultural needs. The farming industry has expanded at great lengths, and Minn Kota Ag Products is there to provide farmers with their entire chemical, fertilizer, seed, and grain elevator needs. They also offer deep band tillage, chemical application, and fertilizer application, just to name a few. For market access at your fingertips and information essential to your farm operation, download the Minn Kota Ag Products app. Minn Kota Ag Products, proud to be a partner in your farm operation since 1941.
20 years of experience, Dr. Andrea at Hornstein Family Chiropractic is certified in pediatrics and pregnancy, seeing children of all ages daily. Start your pregnancy out right with a correcting postural adjustment to help with daily activities and also give you a better night's sleep. Continued chiropractic care throughout your pregnancy can potentially help for an easier labor and delivery of your new little one. Call Hornstein Family Chiropractic today at 701-672-1300 for an appointment, or request an appointment online at hornsteinfamilychiropractic.com. Dr. Andrea Hornstein, helping your family grow up healthy.
Insurance is an important safety net for your family, your home, and your business. Carlson Family Insurance Agency is your local auto owner's insurance provider. At Carlson Family Insurance, they work for their clients, not the companies. Customer service and satisfaction is their #1 goal. Give Carlson Family Insurance a call for all of your personal, farm, business, and crop insurance needs. 701-672-6002 or at cfiagency.com. Carlson Family Insurance, your auto owner's insurance agent.
My question is, do you hate not being able to hear or see what's going on over
Yes.
there? Well,
It bugs
I like it. I
heck
really
out
do.
of me.
I really do. So
You like it just for that fact.
yeah, I mean, I might help you out a little bit so that you can see what's going on, but I mean,
Well-
you'll be able to hear what's going on in the room. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, we are planning on getting a big screen in here someday.
At some
so,
point,
yes.
yeah. But I mean, we still have to have a monitor, we'll say, for you, for the studio. we'll
Okay.
call it. So it is what it is. All right, we got to go because we're behind. So
All right.
anyway,
Welcome back, everybody, to the
There you
Giants
go.
coat. Thanks,
There you
Brian.
go.
That's
There you
Brian Watson behind the camera there. He's the man behind the curtain.
that's right. Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain.
But coming up later, he'll be on a split screen with me when I interview him.
I'm not looking forward to that.
All right, welcome back, everybody, to the Giants Coaches Show presented by Red River Communications and Cable Channel 28, our own dedicated cable channel on Red River Communications when we go live. Most of our events will be on there. If we got 2 events going on at once, only one can have it and the other one can't. But so we've got to make the decision where it goes and who's going to get it. Like there was double basketball games or something. One had to have it and one didn't. So, but anyway, most of our games are on. And this is also on Red River Communications. As I'm talking in circles here, Brian.
I don't really know what you're doing, but yes, tonight is on 28.
How about that?
How about that? There we go.
Okay. All right, now we're joined by head coach of the BW Storm wrestling squad, and that is Ryan Brandt. Ryan, thanks for coming back for the final winter season coaches show. Appreciate
Thank you
coming
guys for having me.
I appreciate you coming in and spending some time with us again, and as you were very kind all winter long and came in and visited with us. And let's talk about the season as a whole there. I think the BW Storm ended up 3-7 in the EDC. Again, EDC is tough, and we talked about that several times, how tough it is, you know, when you got the Cheyennes and the Davies. This year, Valley City was down a little bit, actually, but they've usually got a tough squad.
Yep.
And then overall, you had a record of 5-12. Just talk about the season overall in general, Ryan. And
Yeah,
what your thoughts were.
coming from last year, we had no seniors or anything like that, so we knew we were going to improve on from what we had last year. And last year we only had David who placed in state. So our expectations, we set them pretty high every year, and that's kind of where we were at the beginning of the year this year. And our kids really right away, we were performing really well, and then we kind of ran into that injury bug that seems like we have every year. And it kind of claimed, 3 or 4 of our kids, and that kind of put a hurt on us not being a very deep team as far as having kids with the ability to go out there and wrestle varsity for us. So then we lost some duels there in the middle that I think if we have our full roster that we started with, we can win. And then our record probably looks more closer to 500 than the 5-12 that we got. But then, toward the end of the year individually, we started focusing on that, and a lot of our kids started peaking at EDC and around that time. And I thought when we got to the state tournament, we had our kids wrestling the best that they had wrestled all season, and it really showed for some of them down at state. So,
yeah, I know. I hate to skip forward right to the state tournament when the boys went to the state, but you did have a couple of boys that did very well at state, and you know, and David and I think Weston finished up there pretty high. So Weston got a third, and I think David was a fourth, if I remember right.
Yep.
Yep. So they had a good one. Just again, an okay season. Like you said, the injury bug got you.
Yep.
And you know, just the EDC is not easy.
No, it's not. You know, in our conference, there's probably the top 6 teams all have 13 kids that they can send out there, and most of those teams have a backup kid that's just as good as the kid that's in front of him there. We don't have that luxury. We have roughly 10 to 13 kids that we could send out on varsity, and some of them are at the same weights, which isn't good for us. But then when we lose a kid like Tyler Burchell, when we lost him at 114, we don't have a backup for Tyler. Our backup for Tyler is Jordan Kappas, and when he broke his elbow, now we're down with 2 guys, and one of them, so it's 2 weight classes now we're missing. So that's tough for us, but you know, our kids battled through that adversity, and they came ready to wrestle every night still.
And most of the season, Coach, you ended up forfeiting several matches during most meets, didn't you? I mean, you forfeit anywhere from 3 to 5 matches?
Yeah. At the beginning of the year, we were only forfeiting 2 at most, but then, once Christmas kind of hit and we had ineligibility and the injuries, then it was 4 to 5 a duel that we were having to forfeit. And there's a couple duels in there, like the Barnesville duel, the Border West duel, you know. We only lost by 9 points, and we forfeited 4 weights. So that means, looking at it, we won most of the weights that actually we wrestled at.
Yep.
So that was really a positive thing that we kept trying to build and kept trying to motivate our kids with, like, hey, we lost the duel, but if we just go individual matches that we actually wrestled, we won.
Exactly. So if you could cut it down to that, just say, okay, the ones we wrestled, we actually won that match.
Yep. Yeah.
Without the forfeits.
Yeah, and I think our kids really bought into that toward the end of the year, and we really started focusing on that individual aspect, and a lot of them, you know, like I said, a lot of them peaked at the end of the year and wrestled really well for us at EDC and state. So.
Yep. That's awesome. All right, Coach, let's talk about, before we get to your seniors, let's talk about your younger group here. Again, you were young last year, even almost as young this year with just a couple of seniors, but let's talk about the young group you got coming up next year and what we can look forward to with BW Storm Wrestling.
Yeah, so we have 4 seniors next year that we'll have come in. Chase Marsh will be a senior for us. He'll probably assume one of those upper weight class roles for us again next year. He's a kid that works really hard in the room, and I'm hoping that, you know, this summer we could pack on a little bit more muscle on him and hopefully get him up to that 215-pound weight class where I think he'll do a lot better for us up there at. Then Christian Cass is a kid who's kind of been in and out of the varsity lineup for us the last couple of years. This year he found a spot on the varsity lineup, and, you know, from last year to this year he improved so much just because he dedicated to the weight room over in the off season, and he started going to some wrestling camps and things like that. So, you know, we saw that improvement out of him, and we hope to keep seeing that improvement because he's going to be a varsity starter for us again next year in the middle there. So that's really good to see. Garrett Schwartz, we should have back at heavyweight. He's a kid who, you know, I hope that we can keep out the whole year. He has a lot of potential. He does a lot of things really well. He's a really strong kid for us. And I just want to keep him out. I mean, I think he has the ability to place at state just by his strength and by the little bit of like technique that he does have.
Yeah.
And then our 4th senior, I'm trying to remember who the 4th one is now, is, I believe,
Van Epps.
Van Epps, yeah. Carson. Carson's our 4th senior. He's been pretty much primarily a JV kid for us, wrestled a little bit of varsity here and there for us. He works really hard in the off season and during the room. You know, he's pretty new to the sport. He came out as a sophomore, so this was only his 2nd year wrestling. I'm hoping to see a little bit bigger growth next year out of him so we can plug him into varsity. And I think, you know, between him and then we have between that David and Henry spot right now is kind of where we might have a gap. So we're kind of hoping maybe we can plug Carson into that spot for us. And then sophomores, we only have 3 of them. We have David, who obviously is one of our big go-getters, and he's going to be our only returning state place winner from this year. You know, he's our guy that when we need points, we tell him, hey, we got to go pin this guy. Or if we just need to bump him up and face their toughest kid, we're going to do that. Because David's he's not scared to go up against anybody, and he wants the best competition in the state. And so that's what we try to give him every day that he wrestles. And then Henry, you know, he's kind of our He's one of our other sophomores from Breck, and he wrestles really tough, and he's a strong kid. His goal is to actually get up to 189 pounds. He finished the season at 160. So he's planning on packing on some muscle, hopefully this offseason. He wants to get up bigger because he said he feels like he can wrestle better up at that weight class than the 160-pound weight class. And I'm excited because if he can get up there, I think he's going to be pretty good.
And I'm sure Coach Yagi on the football squad is happy to hear that too.
Yes. And then Will Berge is one of our sophomore from Wahpeton, another kid who wrestles hard, works hard in the room. And he's another kid that's big for us. He's around that 215-pound weight class as well. So, between him, Chase, and Garrett, we're hoping that we'll be able to kind of plug and play our upper weights finally, not having to so much bump so many kids up a weight class to try to fill. And then, our freshman class, we have kind of a mixed bag. We have kids like Riley Kappas, who is very experienced for us.
Yep.
Lost in the blood round at state against the 7-6 match. 1 point, and he's placing at state as a freshman, coming back from a broken arm.
Yep. I remember that.
He's going to be one of our guys that we're going to have to look to be a leader next year for us as well. And then we also have kids like Owen Morse down there, who's brand new to the sport, but works really hard and wants to do really well at this sport. So I think this summer, a lot of those 9th and 8th graders are going to dedicate some time to the weight room, get a little bit bigger for us now, and really focus on going to some camps, getting better there as well. Sure. And then obviously our 8th graders group we got Tyler Burchell and Jordan Kappas there. Tyler, came back from a broken thumb and wrestled state without having to wrestle for a whole month, and did pretty well for that circumstance. But next year I know he wants to get a little bit bigger. He wants to get better. He's eager to get back to it already. He's already trying to figure out how he can go to wrestling camps now, which is good to see. And then Jordan, it's going to be an interesting thing. He broke his arm this year, and I don't think he's actually fully cleared to even start lifting until like August. So it's going to be interesting to see where he comes back as far as strength-wise and all that. So.
Yeah. All right, talk about your seniors. You got a couple of them that we should mention. One of them was a state qualifier and state finisher in the state tournament, and then Coleman Barth also had a great year too.
Yep. Yeah, I'll start with Coleman. Coleman came into the year, was really tough. A kid that we had really high expectations for, and he wrestled really well all season. He wrestled a lot of really tough kids to start the year. I think his first 6 matches, he only wrestled one kid that wasn't ranked in the top 3 out of his first 6. So, his record right away wasn't really good, and that's kind of how it kept going throughout the whole year. It's like we'd get a couple wins, and then we'd get 4 guys that are ranked in the top 5. It's like, okay, now we got beat up a little bit, so then our confidence wasn't always there. But, toward the end of the year, the confidence was starting to come back. He was starting to wrestle really tough against these good kids, and he was starting to beat some of them. And then he actually suffered a knee injury in our last dual season against Fargo North, where he did something to his kneecap. We're still actually not 100% sure what he did, but he wasn't 100% going into EDC. And he won a match there to get to state, and then we ended up injury defaulting him out so we could just get to state. And at state, he wrestled 2 matches that, when he was wrestling, you didn't know that he had a knee injury, but as soon as those matches were done, you could tell he was in a lot of pain.
Yeah.
So, that just speaks to his character and how he goes out there. He wanted to wrestle with that knee injury, and nothing was going to stop him from doing that. He works extremely hard. He's one of those kids that when we draw up like what we want a kid to do inside and outside the restroom, Coleman marks all those boxes for us. He's a great kid. He's going to be very missed. He was a great leader for us. And then Weston, my other senior, came into the year. Not really sure what we were going to get out of Weston. He's always been a kid who's been pretty good for us. And then when we get to state, just kind of something doesn't click. Last year, he got dropped on his head and got a concussion at state. So we didn't know really where Weston's ceiling was this year. And at the beginning of the year, kind of started off a little slow, but then toward, Christmas started picking it up a little bit. And then right around middle of January, we started seeing this kid that was opening up his offense and getting to things that we had been trying to get him to do for the last 3 years, and now he's starting to do them, and he was becoming very hard to beat. And when we got to EDC, he ended up beating some really good kids, placed 3rd in EDC. And then when we got to state, he was a 7 seed going in, won that first match, which was crucial, won the next match, got to the semis, and we were like, all right, now we're placing. And he was just so happy, and I was like, all right. I was like, you can kind of take a breath now, you placed. So let's just go out there and wrestle freely, and that's what he did. He knocked off the number 4 seed, he beat the 5 seed, he beat the 6 seed. So he beat 3 kids that were seated ahead of him to get to 3rd place.
Good for him.
He's more of our guy that we've had that's not really been a leader by words. He's been always a leader by action. So he's going to be,
them too.
yeah, he's going to be very missed as well. He's a quiet kid, but he works really hard in the room.
Yep.
So
That's awesome. All right, mention your assistant coaches here too, Coach.
Yeah, I have a great coaching staff. I have Dan Frame and Eric Erlandson, who have been doing this coaching thing for longer than I've been alive. They've been coaching the sport, so the knowledge that they have is unmatched right now. And they're great. Whenever I have a question, whether it's about technique or something, I can ask them, and they always have the answer for me.
Yeah.
Which is great for me, being a pretty young coach, especially when I first got here. Frame's always been here with me, and so has Hunter. But Frame was always somebody who I went to about questions with anything, whether it was technology or rules or something like that, and he always had that answer for me. And now I get that also with Eric.
Sure.
And he's been very great to work with since the co-op's been there. And they both love wrestling and support all of the kids in our program. And then Hunter McCall is my other assistant coach, and he's my age. So me and him are the two young guys, and then we have the two old guys. So it meshes really well.
Why did you point at me when he said? Why did he point at me when he said old guys?
He knows what he's talking about. So,
I'm just kidding. I'm teasing.
But me and him mesh really well. He's kind of my guy. He's my right-hand man. When I have a question or an idea, I kind of always run those things by him, and he either tells me, yeah, it's a good idea, or he'll be honest with me and be like, probably not good. You probably should change that idea. So I appreciate that he's honest with me, and that I can do that with him.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, they're great. The coaching staff makes my job way easier.
That's always a plus, isn't it? All right, we're going to let you go, Coach. Again, we're looking forward to the next year for the BW Storm wrestling team. Again, a young bunch coming up, and you're going to get older and bigger and stronger the way it sounds.
That's what we're hoping. So.
All right, Coach Ryan Brandt of the BW Storm wrestling team. That's going to wrap it up for him. Thanks again, Coach.
Yes, thank you guys for having me all season.
You're welcome. And I think we got Connor Yagi, or is it Bogey coming next? Bogey's coming next? You got to go home and put the kids to bed, I suppose. All right, we'll be right back with Bogey right after this here on Three Borders Sports Network.
Powerful and playful. Delicate and precise. Bold and carefree. It's the way you move, and it moves us. To deliver care for your whole family. To provide options beyond the expected. To help you leave pain in the past and find your way forward. Orthopedics and sports medicine at Sanford Health. Health lives here.
I'm Katie with First Community Credit Union, and we're here with Dakota Dirt Coffee.
We chose First Community Credit Union because, first and foremost, they're right in our community of Milton, North Dakota, and the convenience of that and being able to know the people that we're dealing with, that's something that we can't get anywhere else. I would say FCCU could be best described as a full-service financial institution that's offered and available in a local community.
At Interstate Engineering, our business is about connections. We connect people to water, communities to counties, and counties to the rest of the world. Our work connects main streets to interstates, and yesterday with the potential of tomorrow. With over 40 years of connecting, our experience and expertise are thanks to the clients we have earned, the trust we have built, and the connections we have made. Interstate Engineering, the professionals you need, the people you trust.
I think the Breck guys carpooled tonight. They got here at the same time.
Well, they were. I think there's a birthday party they might have been at.
Were you at the birthday party?
I was not at the birthday party.
Oh, no? Okay. Were you invited to the birthday party?
I was not.
Was Connor?
I'm the old guy now.
Hey, it's what happens when you're the girls' coach and you don't get invited to any boys' stuff. So just get used to it. Just get used to it. Did you get a haircut?
I did. I finally found some time to get a haircut.
Just for tonight? To come on the show? Well, okay then. That's fine. You could have just said yes to make us happy.
Okay, yes.
Okay,
yes,
there you go. There you go.
Nobody else would have known.
Right.
Just your family.
Right.
All right, welcome everybody back to the Giants Coaches Show here, presented by Red River Communications and Red River Communications Cable Channel 28, our own dedicated cable channel on Red River Communications, Cable Channel 28. And the Giants Coaches Show, and the guy in the background that behind the curtain there is Brian Watson. And I'm Joe Schreiner, and we're now joined by head coach of the Breckenridge Cowgirls basketball team, Tony Bogenreef. Bogey?
How's it going? Thank you, guys.
I appreciate you coming in. I know it's a late evening here. It's after 8 o'clock, and the kids are probably ready for bed.
Yeah, there two
How
of them
about
were already
Dad?
laying down. I was watching some state tournament games on the TV.
Oh, okay.
There was a couple of good ones, but
Yeah.
they were getting ready for bed, and I'll be right there with them here.
You're not
soon.
too far behind. huh?
Right.
All right. Well, I appreciate you coming in and being a part of the show tonight. And it's our final winter season show, so I'm super glad you're able to come in and talk about maybe not the season you wanted, but when you don't have any seniors on there and you end up over 500, 16-13, I think was your overall record, your final overall record. Not too bad.
No, and we've talked about it a few times. You know, we didn't know what to expect overall coming into the year, and then Jonica went down, and then expectations, we kind of just had really no clue at that point in time. But throughout the year, the girls got better, and I think we've all talked about it. But you know, the blessing in disguise is all the extra time, playing time that these other girls have gotten now.
Mhm.
So the experience built from them will hopefully benefit us here going forward.
It was a good season for the Cowgirls as far as I'm concerned. I thought it was pretty good when you don't have any seniors and you're second in the section. It's still got to be a pretty good feeling. And I'm not trying to ask you for more comments on that, but I mean, the results were pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't complain about it. I know there was a time, Coach, toward the end of the season there, you had 7 tough games in a row, or 7 losses. You came back and won 2 out of the last 3. One of them, I think, was against Hillcrest, and they were one of the top teams in your section too as well. But the Cowgirls finished, I thought, strongly and took it right back down into the section tournament.
Yeah, and that stretch was tough, and we talked about it before it happened. We knew it was going to be a tough one. It would have been nice to be able to get one in that stretch.
Yeah.
But like you said, the girls, the last few games really turned it on and really started executing our game plans and took care of the ball. We didn't turn it over nearly as much towards the end, so it's all you can ask for. Play better when you get to March.
Yeah, and they certainly did. And all right, anything else you want to just say on the regular season before we move on to the tournaments, Coach? Anything there?
No.
Okay. All right, so let's move on to the Section 6A tournament. You were lucky enough to get the 2 seed. I shouldn't say lucky. That's not the right word. You were good enough to get the 2 seed.
I mean, we won.
You earned it.
We won enough games, and we play in a tough conference that I think we did earn it. West Central might think differently, but we did get them earlier in the year. So I think, I mean, overall, you just got to look at the head-to-head and say our girls earned it.
Like you said, you play in a tougher conference, the Heart of Lakes Conference, so it was a lot of 2A schools there that you played. That was part of that 7-loss stretch that you had. There was a lot of conference games too as well. But let's take a look now. So you're going in as a 2 seed, so you're lucky enough to host that first round game. And that was against Parker's Prairie, and talk about that game a little bit.
You know, it was one you see on film that you see their record. It's not the greatest record, but they had 10 wins, I believe. And we knew going into that game that they were winning. I think they won like 6 of their last 7 or something like that, where they were playing really well going into the playoffs. So that did worry us. But our girls came out right away and kind of jumped on them and got the lead, and we kind of just hung on to it from there. And everybody got in that game. It was a good experience, good for everybody to get in and also rest our girls for that next game.
Yep. And speaking of the next game, now you know you got to travel down to Glenwood, down to Minnewaska Area High School there for a couple of games. And first game is going to be against the number 3 seed West Central Area. And what a doozy that was.
Yeah, that was about what was expected. We knew that they were playing well as well. They were playing some tougher teams towards the end of their schedule, and they were winning. And our girls knew it was going to be a physical battle. I mean, they got some big girls, and they are a physical team, and they don't graduate much. So they'll be back next year too. They'll be a tough team in the section, but in the end, Emily Gowan hits a big shot again and sends us into the next game.
How fun was that? All right, and so the next game, you're coming in now. You got to take on number 1 Hancock. It's the number 1, number 2 seed, and I goosebumps just thinking of that game. It ends up going overtime. It's a 2-point loss for the Cowgirls. It could have went either way through the whole game.
Right.
And you were kind enough to come up and do a post game with us, but just your thoughts.
You know, we talked about it after the game, but just the way our girls never gave up. I don't think a lot of people probably gave us a chance at even being in the game, and then for us to put it into overtime. And if you watch their next game, they kind of were a little bit flat. So I think we kind of took the sails out of them a little bit. And
you went to that game, didn't you?
We did. We went to the game. We had quite a few girls there just to get the experience and watch that game. But they didn't play nearly as well against Underwood. And Underwood does that to teams too. Nothing to take away from Underwood. They'll be playing tomorrow at the state tournament. But it was a fun game. But we did what we needed to, and it would have been nice to come out on the other end and have that shot at another game, but didn't happen. And I know right away in the locker room, our girls, and on the bus ride home, our girls are asking to get in the gym and get in the weight room right away. And we actually had some in the weight room and gym on Tuesday already.
Wow.
So we know that they're hungry for it and are going to put in the work to make it back.
And in that game, there was an injury to Parker Yagi. Just so everybody knows, I know I've texted her dad and talked to him a little bit and see how she's doing, but from my understanding, she's doing pretty well.
Yeah, she is, and I didn't get to see it live, but I know that she took one off the nose, and it really, I mean, she was kind of, nothing was bleeding or anything, but you could tell that it affected her quite a bit. She was out and just trying to catch her breath and refocus, not having her in the game. I don't know exact game minutes that she was out, but that was big. Because she was kind of, she would answer stuff, she would kind of come back down, and it wasn't always her scoring it, but she would find somebody open because that was their key, and it's hard to take her off the floor.
Yeah, it is, and we wish her well and hope she's doing well and feeling well. I know I went down after the game and talked to a few of the girls, and she was one of the ones that I went up to, and you could see her eyes were red, and it maybe was because of the loss and the crying and that kind of thing, but I also think part of it was the injury itself because she did get popped in the nose.
I think if she stays on the floor, you win that game.
I would agree with that.
I mean, because there was a point there, sort of late in the game where she went back in, and then she got the ball kind of down low in the post and really didn't turn around to look to score.
Yeah,
and I think she was just a totally different player once she went back in the game.
Yep.
And she, if for her to come out of the game because of an injury, it's pretty painful because she's one that will play through anything.
Yep.
I mean, she never wants to come off the court. Even if she needs a break, she doesn't want to come off.
I was wondering if Jonica was going to throw her uniform on and come running in.
Yeah,
At
that would have been something, yeah.
At that point in time, it wouldn't have surprised me there either from her. But again, just a great game to watch and be a part of, and be a part of that experience was pretty fun. All right, Coach, we ain't got any seniors to talk about.
No.
Did you have senior managers?
We did have Taylor Sweeney was a manager for the last, I want to say 3 years. And she kind of was our glue. She sent out all the messages to all the other ones and would get them on track. And but yeah, she was kind of the glue that kept everybody together, and she's done it. So we're gonna have to find somebody to fill that role. We're hoping that she does well with everything going forward, but we're gonna be looking for some new ones.
All right, and then let's just talk about the future. What are you thinking next year? You got a pretty hungry team. They're ready to come back. They were the 2 seed, and maybe looking to do better.
Yeah, like I said, the girls are looking to get in the gym, and some of them have already started practice for their spring sports. So, and no rest for them. But we had the 2 juniors. We had Aaron and Sydney. Sydney's in softball, and I believe Aaron's in track. But those 2 will be a big part of next year as they started this year.
Yep.
We had our 3 sophomores. Jonica didn't get to play this year, but by next year she should be full strength. It'll kind of hurt us a little bit not having her this summer just to get back into the whole swing of everything that we're doing, but she'll be fine coming back. You got Parker, obviously a threat on both ends of the court. I mean, that's one thing she probably doesn't get enough credit for is that she can defend the other team's best player. She rebounds really well. She can guard the best guard. She can guard the best post. She's just physical. Emily Gowan, she kind of really broke through this year. She took it to the hole a lot, and she was really aggressive, and we needed that take pressure off Parker and take pressure off everybody else. She did the majority of the ball handling, so we're looking forward to her growing over the year.
I remember the West Central game. She said that she didn't want to be in there because she missed 4 free throws, but you told her, girl, you go in there and do it.
Yep, and she needs that. Yeah, she needs that confidence sometimes. She's kind of gets down on herself, which it's okay to get down on yourself, but just have that short-term memory.
Short-term.
Yep.
Yep.
Then we have a bunch of freshmen coming back. We have Piper Janing. She started for us this year. She went from last year playing JV point guard, kind of running the show a little bit there after Emily and Sydney got moved up to starting on the varsity this year. Kind of got thrown into it, but she did a good job of adjusting. She uses her length really well. At the end of the year, she shot it really well from three and kind of pulled the defense out, gave others looks to get to the rim. Then we had Ellie Brewer and Mariah Coltis kind of filled that backup post role, and both of them, right around 6 foot.
Yep.
Mariah uses her length really well on defense and can block a lot of shots. Set screens really well. She's not, as far as being tall, she's not the biggest girl though, and she finds people on screen. She does a really good job of doing that. Ellie Brewer, she rebounded well for us and set screens, but she also, she was also aggressive on offense, where a lot of times as a post, you see we play a lot of good post defenders, and we feel like she did a good job of staying aggressive and trying to score over them as well.
Yeah.
And then Anna Spear, she came in and hit some big threes for us this year. It seemed like if the ball was going to touch your hands, that thing was going to go up and more than likely going to go in. So we'll look to her to be our sniper next year again and bring her in and maybe some more minutes off the bench for her. But whenever she's on the court, you know that they can't sag off her and help in the lane. So it's a big role for her. Chastity Hansen, she was a defender. She kind of got pesky in games where we would just have her guard their best player full court. We wouldn't get up in the press, and she would get up. She knew her role on offense, didn't necessarily force shots, but took them if they were open. I think her shooting and ball handling will come along during this summer, and she'll be a complete player by the end of the year.
Good minutes in the tournament for her.
Yeah. And then we had Aubrey Bozen, another freshman.
Happy birthday to Aubrey Bozen. It's
Yes,
her birthday today.
yes, happy birthday, Aubrey. But she was the true team player. She did anything. She'll go fill somebody's water bottle. She'll go do anything for you. She'll step in on scout team. Anything you need, she's there to help you. And she, like I said, never complains. You never have to worry about her effort. She's flying around, and her game came a long ways this year. On the JV, she really rebounded actually well for them, and she's not a tall girl either.
Right.
And her shooting came along towards the end of the year. We wanted to get her some shots on varsity, and she kind of just shied away from it. And then our 7th grader, Ava Janing.
Yep.
There's only room for growth for her just being in 7th grade, but for just being in 7th grade, I thought she played really well. She played some big, meaningful minutes all year long.
Yep.
She was willing to step up and hit some big shots for us. She was a good defender, looked to push the ball when it was there, but also found her teammates.
Yep.
Just a heady player for a 7th grader. So we're looking to build off our core group and see what kind of noise we can make next year.
Well, that's just what Watson wants to hear. Is you got a couple of 6-footers coming back next year in the border battle game, and some aggressive people handling the ball. You got Jonica Bernadas coming back. I mean, what more does Watson have to look forward to?
He's got some players coming back too, so I don't.
What's in the water over there?
Yeah, that's what we always say about Wapton.
Come on now.
We actually get our water in Wapton and bring it over for practice.
So. Something must happen when it crosses the bridge. So I don't know what it is, but it's not good for us. Yeah. So you guys are going to be good for the next whatever. I mean, you really are. So I don't know.
I can't take any credit either, because they truly want to be there in the gym, getting shots up. I think you see our overall strength. We didn't ever let up on the weightlifting, and it's kind of easy to do because basketball season gets busy. But we lifted twice a week all year long, and you could really see the difference by the end of the year, that some of those rebounds that we would get in rip or just being ball strong with it did make a difference.
Yeah, you guys were playing really well at the end of the season. That game against Hancock was one of the best games I've seen. There's been some good basketball games this year. Your game against Hancock, and there are a couple on our side of the river, but that was a really good basketball
We got
game.
some big numbers on that one, so I mean, a lot of people have watched that game. Probably more than once.
And that was a nice game by Sydney. She came out and hit some big shots.
How about that? I was going to mention that. You mentioned that earlier. Yeah, she comes out and get 30 points.
That was a nice game for her. She found a spot to drive, and she was to the rim, and then she would step back out and hit a 3. It was just, she was definitely feeling it for us that game.
Yep, pretty cool. Well, Coach, I'm going to let you go unless you got something else there, B-Dub. we're gonna let him go because Connor's sitting over there patiently.
Well, he's pulling a Ralph right now. I mean, he's going for hours here.
I thought Ralph was going to have everybody come back tomorrow. Maybe.
We should just have his own show, the Coach Ralph Show.
Right.
I hope he sees that
Yeah.
and he understands.
Oh, yeah.
So
Oh,
that
yeah.
I'm not the only one who says that.
Yeah.
So yeah,
All
I'm
right.
happy about that.
I do just want to say thank you to my coaching staff too.
Oh yeah, we didn't mention the assistants. Yeah,
well,
go ahead.
Tim and Brenda both, and then we had Joel Herder as a volunteer assistant. Girls just love being around Coach Herder, whether it be the weight room or practice, whatever it might be. They give him a little bit of a hard time, and he gives it right back. Tim, coming up from the youth programs, done a nice job of. He watches a lot of film and has different takes on stuff. And then Brenda's been around the game for a really long time, where it's nice to see what she sees and has seen in the past, and she brings a different light to it, and it's nice to be able to bounce ideas off everybody. So
That's pretty cool. And of course, Jonica spent the year statting for you and did a lot of things, and I want to thank her for coming up, and I want to thank you too as well for allowing her to come up and do some color for me one night when B-Dub couldn't be there. But she did a good job. So
she did a good job coaching too.
Yeah, I'm sure she did.
It was a few times where she would say, "You need to run this set," or "We should run that set," and sure enough, it more than likely worked when she gave us that advice. So
yeah, that's a good coach on the floor for you next year. Absolutely. All right, we're going to let Tony go. We got Connor Yagi waiting out in the wings here. Jordan's not here tonight, but Connor Yagi's here to talk about Cowboy basketball. Tony Bogenreef, Cowgirls basketball coach.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks again, buddy.
Appreciate it.
We'll see you next year. All right, we'll be right back after this on Three Borders Sports.
Getting you back to what you love. We are Optimum Rehab. For over a decade, Dr. Tony Eggeman has provided physical therapy services for the people of Wahpeton, Breckenridge, and surrounding communities. We're a small practice that sees our patients as individuals. Through hands-on techniques, our patients have their treatment plans tailored to their exact needs. Sprains, sore muscles, back pain, achy joints, rehab following surgery, you name it. Optimum Rehab is your answer. When you need exceptional physical therapy, you need Optimum Rehab.
Comdell Innovation is now hiring production technicians for a variety of shifts with opportunities to make $20 or more per hour. Work in a clean, climate-controlled facility. Second shift, 4 10-hour days, every weekend off, 3:30 p.m. to 2 a.m., and 4 crew rotation, straight days, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., or straight nights, 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. Apply in person or online at ComdellInnovation.com. Comdell Innovation of Wahpeton, an employee-owned company.
Since 1987, Red River Valley and Western Railroad has served North Dakota and Minnesota with over 500 miles of track. Red River Valley and Western handles shipping, freight car repair, storage options, and now transload services. With over 30 years of experience in the railroad industry, they know dependable service is what you strive for. Red River Valley and Western is proud to be a part of the community since 1987. Founded in 1972, Mindak Farmers Cooperative is owned by nearly 500 sugar beet growers and has a rich history of sweetening life in the Red River Valley. Join Mindak's team today. In addition to an excellent pay and benefits package, they are currently offering a $2,000 sign-on bonus for all full-time positions, which includes sugar loader, packager helper, extra gang, and yard person helper. Entry level starting at $19.78 per hour, plus a $3 per hour shift differential. Apply online at mdf.coop/careers or contact Zane 701-671-7777.
No matter.
All right, welcome back to the Giants Coaches Show, everybody, and welcome back to Three Borders Sports Network. The Giants Coaches Show brought to you by Red River Communications and Red River Communications Cable Channel 28. And welcome back to our Coaches Show, everybody. And Brian Watson over there behind the curtain. And I'm Joe Schreiner, and we're joined now by assistant coach for the Breckenridge Cowboys. That's Connor Yagi. Connor, thanks for coming in.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys.
Appreciate you coming in and taking your night off here. And we want to, before we get started, I suppose we should say happy birthday to Jordan, huh?
Yep, yeah, Jordan's 28 today.
How much?
28.
28. Happy 28th birthday there, Coach Jordan Christensen. He said he he told me he was going to a movie with his wife. So
Yeah, doing that dinner before probably. too.
yeah, probably dinner before. So we don't think there was a party. At least we didn't get invited if there was a party.
None that I was invited to.
Yeah, neither me either. All right, Connor, let's talk about Cowboy basketball here for a few minutes. I know we're running a little bit behind here, but I appreciate you coming and staying here for it. And Cowboys started out the season, I think they were 2-2 at one point in time. And things looked pretty good for the Cowboys. At least I thought so anyway. And I don't know what you guys as a coaching staff thought, but, 2-2, and then the wheels fell off the wagon, I guess. But 2-2 was a pretty good start.
Yeah, I mean, as far as our start, we were certainly happy with it. We were 2-2, and we were up actually, I think, 18 at one point in the first half on Barnesville, who tied for a share of
Yeah.
win in our conference.
Yeah.
So, but they were just coming off of football, Barnesville was, so we knew we had them at a good time. And I think as teams kind of got into the swing of things, our youth showed a little more at times and things like that, but we didn't have a lot of experience coming back from the year before. Only Jacob Kunkel and Bo Byer had varsity minutes. So his teams figured out, our tendencies and what we were good at and what we were bad at. I certainly think that had a factor in kind of the slump in the middle of the year.
It's funny you mentioned the Barnesville game because I was looking at the schedule here, and I didn't print that part of it off, but I was looking at the schedule here preparing for tonight, and I looked at that Barnesville score, and I think it was only like a 6 or 7 point loss, if I remember right.
Yeah, in OT. They hit a buzzer beater actually to send it to OT.
And I forgot they were just coming off the football season there too, but I thought that would have been a big, huge win for you guys.
For sure. And we actually played really good that game. I think I don't know. I think it was that game. Aiden Sanchez as a freshman point guard guarding their guard Bredman, who is one of the best players in our conference.
Yep.
Guarded him the whole game, and I think Aiden finished the game with like 21 points and 15 boards. Like unreal for a freshman point guard.
Correct. Yep. And all right. So and then the other thing I got to talk about, it was a tough season for the Cowboys. Then after that, finishing 3-25. But let's look at that third win. I got to talk about it because I traveled down to Parker's Prairie with Raleigh and Camden, and we did the game. And I'm so glad we did it. And how fun was that for you as coaches? You were assistant coach, of course, to see your players get that victory over Parker's Prairie. I think it was 67-64 was the final. Talk about that for a little bit. That had to be a blast.
Oh, for sure. I mean, it's a credit to the kids on the team that, like, no matter how down and how long the season felt like it was.
Exactly.
They showed up every day with the same positive attitude.
Yes.
And that just goes to our seniors and our leaders, They showed up every day, great attitude, hard work ethic. You didn't know what our record was in practice. We were working just as hard every single day. And the funny thing about that game, too, was so them and Benson had the exact same QRF score. So we didn't know who we were playing until exactly at 9:45 when they let it out. And then
that Saturday.
Yep, the next Saturday. So, and then we were trying to get done with practice early so we could get everybody to Minnewaska to watch the girls play.
Okay.
So Coach Christensen, credit to him, he works as hard as anybody. He was up all night watching film on both Benson and Parker's Prairie.
Wow.
Well, then when we found out, we watched a little more film of Parker's Prairie, had it ready to go, gave them the scout on Saturday. I mean, and they executed it perfectly on Monday night. I mean, they had a great shooter, and we did a great job on him. They had another senior that was a really talented player, and we did a great job loading to him, plugging gaps. And that game, too, I think we had 4 guys, all like over 15 points or all, deep into double figures. And, it was just a lot of work that we had put in and a lot of like entries we had added to offense and defense. I mean, and we were executed them all flawlessly that game. It was great fun to be a part of.
It was an awesome game to watch. And you mentioned, and I forget the player's name now from Parker's Prairie, that was their good scorer, and we're number 3. I can't remember his name right now. It was a difficult name to say. But anyway,
me too, yeah.
But anyway,
lefty shooter.
Aiden Sanchez, I think you manned him up against him, and Aiden shut him down basically because I think that number 3 only ended up with like 7 or 9 points. Didn't he?
I think he only made 1 3. He did a phenomenal job on him. Yep. He did a great job on him all game. I mean, he was up into him, breathing down his neck. I mean, and then anytime we got switched on him, because we were switching ball screens, and so anytime somebody switched onto him, they did did a great job getting up on him. Jacob Kunkel, Cooper Roberts, Bo Byer.
Yep.
I mean, everybody knew and identified Shooter right away. I'm up on him, and then his teammates were there plugging gaps so he couldn't drive and create for others. I mean, we really executed. The kids
That was the key
executed.
to me and to myself. Raleigh was the one that did play-by-play. I did the color that night, but to us, that was the key moments of the game, is the shutdown defense that he had on him.
Oh, for sure. It changed everything. In the
Yeah,
game.
absolutely. Yeah, it was so fun to see a team suffering that much of a season to come away with a tournament victory like that, away from home.
Yep.
And to see the jubilation of you guys over there in the corner, that was kind of fun.
Yeah, and certainly all the fan support we had there made it even better, and you guys being there and people being able to watch it. You know, me and Coach Christensen actually got a bunch of texts after the game, and it's just great to know that we have a great community, you know, and you guys supporting us, and all our fans and everything still supporting us the whole way.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. All right, Coach, let's take a look first next year. What do you got coming here? We'll talk about the seniors at the end here. So coming up, what do we got next year? What are we looking forward to? Who's the young guys you got coming up here?
Yeah, so we'll, from returning players from this year, Caleb Albertson is a junior that started for us. We'll have Logan Church, who played a little bit. He's a junior. He'll be back next year. Caleb, a great shooter. Logan, high energy guy. And then the sophomores, we got who played last year. Cooper Roberts played a lot last year, obviously. He was our leading rebounder this year. And then we'll add in Levi Christensen, who had to play JV because of transfer rules. He'll be a very good, talented scorer, talented rebounder. We'll have a couple shooters, and Gavin Hoffert, Charlie Krejcia. And then we'll have a bunch of freshmen.
Connor Ernst, yeah.
Yep. Aiden Sanchez, one of them. Connor Ernst, one of them. Connor really played well at the
I was
end of
thinking
the year.
Connor was a sophomore, so that's why I said that.
Yep,
Sorry.
he's a freshman. He's
Okay.
a freshman. But yeah, he really played well at the end of the year. You know, just as far as like he can guard all 5 positions. He's willing to play all 5 positions, even though he's a little smaller. You know, he doesn't mind guarding 5s, guarding 4s. He played point guard on JV, and then he'd play the 3 or the 4 on varsity. And so he'll have a good year next year. And then Joey Lopez played a little bit of varsity as a freshman before he got hurt. He'll be a very talented point guard for us next year. And then there's another plethora of freshmen coming up too, you know, that might, you know, see some time next year.
Okay. All right. And then now it's time to talk about the seniors and thank them for what they've done and the leadership they gave you.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, we'll start with Jacob Kunkel. I think he might have been our leading scorer this year. He was kind of for sure the leader of the team, and he's kind of one of those kids that, like, you hope your son grows up like him. When he got hurt in the middle of the year, that's kind of when things really started to roll down for us. Because even though we were losing a little bit early on, we were competing really hard. And then Jacob went down, and we didn't realize how much of a leader he was defensively for us, just from communication and getting guys to where they need to be. And then we have Bo Byer, who started for us, and you know, he averaged, I think, almost double figures or 9 points, something like that. He had a really good year. He would guard a lot of talented players, block a lot of shots. He could really get into the zone and up into a lot of really talented talented guards. CJ Bernard was another senior who started some games early for us, hurt his hip, and then finished the year, you know, obviously not able to play.
Right.
But he was there every day in practice.
Still there.
Still there, involved in drills, teaching kids where to be, what to do, how to run the sets. So great kid. Colin Suko, another one of those kids that, like, you hope your son grows up like him, because depending on matchups, he'd get to play a good amount some games, and then other games not so much. But whether he played a lot or just a little, he was always the first one to stand up and cheer, first one giving out high fives, always a leader, always asking questions of, you know, what if I set the screen at this angle? Should that person rotate there? Just very smart kid.
Good.
And then there was a manager, Spencer Bozen, who great, nice kid, you know, hardworking kid, did anything we asked, so we appreciate him too.
All right, and then Jordan Christensen, head coach. You're one of the assistant coaches. Who else did you have?
And then we had Austin Ramos, who helped out with JV and varsity, who was great this year. Jack Heidemann, C squad coach, and then who we really appreciate him, of course, since now he goes straight into baseball season. And then Jonah Christensen, Jordan's brother, who is great to have around. The kids certainly love him.
I think he knows how to play the post.
Oh, a little bit. He's got some moves.
All right, Connor, and again, it was just a fun win for you guys at Parker's Prairie in that tournament game, and hopefully that brings more positive things for the Cowboys next year.
Yep, we're certainly hoping we can improve for next year. And once again, we appreciate you guys.
No, you're welcome, and thank you very much. We appreciate you guys. You doing any spring sports?
I do not coach any spring sports. That would be a little tough with planting season coming up.
I was going to say you might be out in the field a little bit after school, huh?
I hope so.
Yeah, well, you tell your dad to take it easy on you, okay?
I will.
All right. All right, we'll be right back with head coach of the Lady Huskies. That's Brian Watson, and somehow he's going to do a split screen thing. I don't know what he's doing. But anyway, we'll be right back with Brian Watson right after this.
Time of year, a farmer's relationship with Red River Grain Hefty Seed never changes. Red River Grain Hefty Seed works shoulder to shoulder with area farmers to attain the highest possible profit for you. Red River Grain Hefty Seed has been saving farmers money for years. For all your grain and agronomy needs, stop in or call the friendly staff at 643-3738 or visit them online at redrivergrain.com.
Here at the Amanda Frederick State Farm Agency, we do our best to make insurance a little less insurance-y for you. Hi, this is Amanda, your local State Farm agent. You've probably seen our team out and about volunteering in the community, participating in local events, and just doing our all-around best to support and encourage a healthy, vibrant community. Stop into our office sometime and find out why we've been consistently voted best insurance agency in the Valley and why State Farm has been a trusted household name in insurance for 100 years. We hope to meet you soon.
At OSPTI, our focus is on each individual's therapy needs, whether it be for speech, occupational, or physical therapy services. I'm Becky, a physical therapist at OSPTI, and I love being able to provide that personal care to each person that we see with clinics in Breckenridge, Hankinson, and Fergus Falls. You don't have to travel very far from home. From infants to athletes to adults, you can request OSPTI to meet your therapy goals.
Any bank can tell you they have a rock-solid commitment to agriculture. Bell can prove it. To this day, every Bell Bank branch is partially built with rocks we've picked from our founder's farm. But our roots in ag have grown more than a few offices. They've shaped who we are and formed our entire approach to banking. Let us prove it to you as you grow your farm and prepare your legacy for the next generation. Bell Bank, committed to ag. In Wahpeton, talk to Rick Steckler.
Your business depends on technology. Digital Guru provides professional IT solutions you can trust to keep it moving forward. From redesigning existing systems to brand new builds, we offer your business managed IT services, including backups, cybersecurity, cloud services, remote desk support, and more. And don't forget, we also provide audio, video, security camera, and door access control installation. Focus on what you do best and leave the technology to the professionals. Contact Digital Guru today.
Your athletes. Welcome back, everybody, to the Giants Coaches Show, brought to you by and sponsored by Red River Communications and Red River Communications Cable Channel 28. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. And we have our final winter season finale here for the Coaches Show, and we'll be back in the spring with our Spring Coaches Show as well, but this is our final one for the winter season. And I'm Joe Schreiner, he's Brian Watson, and he is also the head coach of the Wahpeton Lady Huskies. And he's my final interview of the night of the season. And B-Dub, now you're going to put your coach's hat on instead of the producer hat.
Yeah, I took my headset off, so hopefully it works.
All right.
So it's just weird when I have to listen to myself. I needed to hear everything else, but
right.
Hopefully this will be all right. So.
And you got us on split screen, so
I think so.
How about that?
It looks like it, so we'll see how it goes here.
Wow,
so.
Look at us go.
Yep. So we're like ESPN here. Dare we say that?
Dare we say that?
Dare we
you
say
got
that.
some stuff in the background. I see you got your Fighting Sioux Highway 11 sign up. Is that in the camera shot there for
A
you?
little bit. The bottom of it is.
Yeah?
So, yeah, I mean.
Gosh, look at you go.
I mean, there's stuff there, so I don't know. We got plenty of other stuff to do. Before we give a tour, we'll have to get things finished, and then we'll have a grand opening.
Yeah, we'll have a grand opening. That's the plan. We got a couple things going on.
Yep.
So hang up a few more things and get a few more things
Put
completed.
more holes in the wall.
A couple things painted. Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, head coach of the Lady Huskies, that's Brian Watson joining us now. And B-Dub, let's talk about the season. And overall, the season, the Lady Huskies finished with a 11-12 record, not quite 500.
No.
But I think if you go back to week 1, it's maybe a little better than what you thought. Am I right? Or
Well, I mean,
you were hoping.
Well, I just knew how tough it was going to be. Our
That's what I mean.
schedule was pretty tough. You know, we had sort of an idea of, of what some of these teams are going to be like, how good they were going to be. You know, I thought South Prairie was going to be good just watching film on them from last year. You know, and then they turned out to be really good. And after we played them, I said, I don't know who's going to beat that team. And then, well, of course, Thompson turns around and beats them the next night. But then they end up in the championship game. So they're a really good basketball team. I think they only lost, including the championship game, I think they only have 4 losses on the season.
Yeah.
They're loaded, and we'll start the season out against them next year too as well.
So that's what next year's schedule looks like. You're heading back up northwest again.
Right now, we're scheduled to play all of the same teams that we played last year, with the exception of Shanley. Shanley, they got into a different tournament for both their boys and girls, so we're not going to play them next year. So that game's been replaced with we're going to go to Standing Rock.
To Standing Rock.
Yep.
So you're going to go out there.
It's going to be in late January. We're going to go to Standing
So
Rock.
the away games that you had, with the exception of the Minot stuff that you did at the beginning of the season, basically if you just did a one-off with somebody, you're playing them home and home.
Correct. Our schedule is exactly the
So the
well, I
Millbank
shouldn't say
game will be
exactly
at
the same.
Millbank this
We'll
year.
go to Millbank.
Right.
Thompson will come here, even though we didn't play him. We were scheduled to play him. So Thompson will come here. Four Winds will come here. Four Winds is going to be really good. Thompson's going to be really good. When we start off against South Prairie again, they're going to be really good. And of course, then we have the teams that are in our region. We'll play Devils Lake again, who won the state championship. Our schedule is loaded. We lost to Millbank. That team was really good. I mean, I don't know. I think we have an understanding of what we need to do, and I think we'll be prepared for some of those games. I don't think we were fully mentally prepared to play some of those games, but I think we have an understanding of what we need to do in order to be successful in this new division.
So it is a new division, and Coach, let's just go right forward up to the tournament action here, Region 1. You played up in the Shack, and your first game was against Oak Grove with a nice little victory for the girls there.
Yeah, that was I was nervous about that game. I felt like Oak Grove was a really good team, that didn't win very many games, and I think that they're sort of like us of old in the EDC. Not that we're comparing the two deals, but they were competitive. They had girls who worked hard. They have some girls who can shoot it. They play really good defense, and we beat them by 15 at their place, and then we play them last game of the season on senior night, and we beat them by 3 or whatever. And then I just thought that it was going to be a tough battle, and it turned out to be a tough basketball game.
Yeah.
And we needed to kind of get after it at the end there, and we're able to come out of it. And I felt like that game was a good tournament game for us to be able to grind that game out and win that game. I felt like that put us in a good position to get a couple more wins. It didn't turn out that way, but I felt like that game was something that should have gotten us going.
Yeah, it got you some time in the Shack, got you a win at the Shack. They're a larger facility, larger court. It's a different facility with the dark backgrounds and stuff and everything, but in the high ceilings. So the semifinal game, then you take on Valley City, again, a former EDC opponent, and a tough 2-point loss for the girls.
Yeah, I mean, that game was tough, and credit to Jimmy Howard and his team. I think Valley was nowhere on the radar for anybody, preseason with new Division A, and people had us very high, but I think no one knew what it was going to be like. I think for us, we kind of knew what playing Valley is like. They lost some decent girls last year, but they also had one of the best players in the state in Tessa Olson.
Yeah.
And, and they have some girls that work hard and some girls that are long, and they use what they have really, really well, and it led to a very successful season for them. They're able to beat us in the region tournament, able to go on and make it to the state tournament and place fourth. So, a very tough out for us to try and get against Valley. And then we can talk about that last game too, if you'd like.
Yeah, well, let's talk about that a little bit. It ended up going up against Kindred in the third place game, and you needed to win that one to get to the qualifier game on Saturday. And the number 4 seed, Northern Cass, defeated the number 1 seed, Kindred. So that put Kindred down into the third place game with you, and you had to play the number 1 seed out of the Region 1.
Well, Northern Cass, half the season, is one of the best teams in the state.
Yeah.
And I think they lost to us mid-season, and they kind of went.
They were undefeated when they came in here, weren't they?
I can't remember if they were undefeated
close.
or if they just had one loss. No, they had a loss because they lost the 4 wins before they played us, because we watched some of that film.
That's right.
But they were one of the best teams in the state.
Yeah.
And they have arguably one of the best players in the state who's going to be back next year. So that was a good win for them. I don't know if it was really a shock for them to win. I think our region was really solid. I think anybody could have beat anybody. And,
yeah, it was.
So we get left with Kindred, a game that I kind of wanted because we had them at their place, and I feel like we had them beat, and we lost to them by 1 or 2 or whatever it was, and just weren't able to get over the hump. But I thought we played well enough to win that game. We just didn't do the right things at the end. So I wanted another shot, and for 3 quarters, we played probably the best basketball that we've played all season.
Yep.
We did everything that we needed to do offensively and defensively. Going into the fourth quarter, we got a foul and a 3-pointer at the end of the third, so we're up 13 points. And I felt like we were playing really good basketball, but as our whole season has gone, we just weren't able to finish it.
Yeah.
We were in a lot of games this year where we played fairly well, but we just weren't able to finish games, or we'd have stretches in games where we just couldn't get it done. We were ahead against the team that won the state championship. We were ahead with about 4 minutes to go. We're up 5, and we're not able to close them out. So we were in a position against some really good teams. Kindred, another really good team that we had 13-point lead, and then everything. Played 3 of the best quarters, and then we played the worst 8 minutes of basketball that we played all season.
Yeah,
at the time.
that was tough to watch,
Yeah.
and then I'm sure even tougher from the sideline like you were. But all right, let's talk about next year, Coach. What do you got coming back next year? And you got some good girls coming back next year.
I mean, we do. We lose a couple girls, and then we get a couple girls back due to injury.
Yep.
We're hoping to have Olivia Hansen back. She re-injured a knee that she had when she was younger, had surgery, has about a 6-month recovery time, and we're hoping that she's going to come back better and stronger. And then we get Latea Luneberg back, who we really could have used this year. There's some things that Taya does that really would have helped us. And we want to have everybody on the floor, and we're going to get her back. But I think, her being out, we had a couple girls step up that got some playing time and some valued experience that I think is really going to be a good combination with Taya back and having a couple younger girls in there too who've already played a varsity season.
Yeah, you got a pretty good squad, a younger squad coming up here, but so things look good as far as I'm concerned for the Lady Huskies. I'm not in the huddles with you every day and stuff, but I guess what I see, it's going to be a good.
Well, you just have to look at Claire Woods played a lot for us, and I think at the beginning, just
as an 8th grader.
As an 8th grader, and I think over the summer we thought, we'll get her in our practice. She'll play JV, and then we'll work her into the varsity game as much as we can to give her some time on the floor. But she had to play. With Taya being out, she had to play. She was the first post player in the game. Sienna Fobb, a freshman, who had a really good season. Again, these girls are playing I mean, really on paper, these girls should be playing freshman basketball.
Right.
You know, and they're playing, you know, meaningful minutes in a varsity game. So it's just valuable learning experience. You know, Camry Malk, another freshman who played some good minutes for us late, especially against Oak Grove. So, you know, we have some pieces. Claire Langewalter, sophomore, who's been in our practice since 8th grade. So we've got some pieces. You know, our junior class is loaded with Hallie and Scout, and then Jalea Lopez-Lee, who does a lot of the little things on the floor. You know, we need her to get in and get some rebounds, things like that, and she's able to get in there and get it done. And I just feel like we have a good group coming back, but we're really going to have to focus on some of the fundamentals and get, you know, really good guard play and things like that in order to put it all together.
All right, so let's talk about the seniors that were your leaders on the floor in the locker room, Coach. Talk about those girls here and what they meant to the team.
Well, on the varsity, we had 2 seniors that were able to play this year. We had one that was out with injury. Amaya Max, you know, had a great year defensively, broke the school single game steal record, was our steal leader on the season, broke Tylee Irwin's record, and just a player that, you know, there's times when she's on the floor where you look at her and go, geez, that girl does a lot, man. She can guard some of the best players, and when she's hot, she can shoot it. And just been a big part of our success here the last couple of years, the year that we went to state too as well. So a good career for Amaya. And then Leah DeVries, you know, I've had the pleasure of coaching her older sister. And, you know, that sister combination of the DeVrieses is just, you know, 2 of the best teammates that you can ever have on a team. And it's just a pleasure to coach. And Leah played some really good minutes for us this year. I think, you know, we knew she was going to play or whatever and be on the floor a lot. And I have always felt that she could shoot it a little bit. And she started off the season pretty hot. I mean, she knocked down a bunch of 3-pointers against South Prairie, made some against Stanley too as well out there in Minot. And just, you know, after that maybe struggled a little bit with her confidence, but a good solid player for us and a good leader, and someone that we're going to miss. And then Brooklyn Smith didn't play this year. Another senior that we had, she couldn't play due to injury, but still around the team, able to, you know, be there for some of those younger girls and provide some leadership. And, you know, if you're a senior that can't play, you know, I think, you know, some of them can just walk away and say, you know what, I'm done. I don't want to do this. And she was involved and stayed around the team. So we appreciate those 3 girls at the varsity level. But we also had 2 players who played just JV as seniors. And I think that's something that's tough to do. But if you want to be a part of the team and you understand where you fit and what your role is, I think, you know, Jenna and Julia Seibold embraced that role. They were leaders on the JV team. That's, you know, that sounds weird to say, well, they're on the JV team. No, they were leaders on that JV team. Those are the girls who are going to move into the varsity program at some point. Hopefully all of them will, but not all of them won't. But they set a really good example of, hey, you know what? I understand what my role is. I'm going to play on the JV team. I'm going to have a great time because I enjoy playing basketball. And then for the 2 of them, we're able to get them into the varsity game, the last varsity game of the year. And then Jenna gets the rebound to seal the win. We put them about 4 seconds left. And, you know, it just was, for me, one of the coolest things that I've ever experienced as a coach. I was really, really happy that I was able to get them in the game and then have it shake out like that. Just a really, really cool experience. And then we have 3 managers, Faith Garcia, Aaliyah Klein, and Brady Graves. Brady was a manager for the first time this year. And those 3 people, they just do a lot for our program. We need managers. We need managers that are involved. There's things that coaches can't always do, getting ready for the game, getting prepped for the game, taking stats, you know, all these things that are important to our success. We need people to do that. So we appreciate the time and the effort that they spent. They're at practice every day, you know, things like that. And then Faith and Aaliyah are 2 former players. And, you know, again, that goes back to, you know, girls who maybe, you know, feel like, well, they don't want to compete anymore, but they still want to be a part of the program. And those girls are just as important as anyone on our team. They're part of the Lady Husky family. And we appreciate everything that they've done over the years, both playing and managing. And, it's just a part of a family, and we need everyone, and we're going to miss all the seniors that leave our program.
Amen to that. I obviously everybody knows, the viewers know, and all of our friends know that you and I are partners in this business, but I also consider you a good friend, and there's times that I understand what you mean by that when you talk about those seniors and you talk about those senior managers and how important they are to you as a coach and what they do for you. So it's very important to have those folks. All right, let's talk about your assistant coaches real quick, Coach.
Well, I've got a pretty good crew of coaches, and you've heard the other coaches talk about their assistants. And my assistants are Patrick Goulon. He coaches the C Squad team, and Coach Goulon he does an amazing job. He gets players that need to be developed. Sometimes he gets the same players a couple years in a row. Never blinks an eye, and this year those guys had a really successful season.
Yep.
One of the best seasons that our C Squad's had, and to his credit, he gets those girls going. We take girls from him, we add girls throughout the season. He never knows who he's going to have at the beginning of the season, at the end of the season, middle of the season, but he just keeps rolling. And then our JV coach and my assistant coach, Rod Brewer, I don't know what I would do without Coach Brewer. It's just like I turn around and I'll start to say something, and then he'll say it's already done. I mean, he just knows what needs to be done. He's a former head coach, and he's doing all of our subbing and things like that, and watching what's going on out there on the floor. He's like, hey, we need to make a change here. We need to do this. Hey, let's do this for a couple possessions. I get a lot of the credit or whatever, but really, my assistants are doing all the hard work. And then Lakin Brewer, former player of mine, who didn't have a team but was our assistant coach, and really, just kind of bounced around, helped out with JV, helped out with C Squad. Sometimes we have more players in that C Squad practice, so we need two coaches in that practice. So, and Lakin just doing a great job. Her dad let her coach a couple of the JV games on her own. A little difficult for him to sit on his hands and not say anything. But, there was a stretch there where Lakin would fill in and coach before, and then this season she coached a couple games on her own. And her dad said, you sure you want to keep doing it? She goes, well, I haven't lost yet. I mean, and then she ended up losing one, but she went a long stretch there without winning a game. She'd fill in and do a great job. So great crew that we have on our staff. And then lastly, I'd like to say, Chantel Shute, Bones, does a great job for us, and keeping girls on the floor, getting girls recovered and back on the floor after injury. We have a good training staff, and Bones is a big part of our success in our family too.
I just, I don't know it firsthand, of course, but I'm around a lot of the teams and a lot of the Wahpeton teams, and it was glad to see her stick around when there was a change. Yeah, we were lucky. And she cares about the kids and gets along with them all well.
She does.
So I agree with your assessment there. All right, Coach, you want to take a break? Did we get a play of the week? I didn't ask you before we went on the air.
No, unfortunately, no.
All right. So our Comdale Innovation Play of the Week, we'll have
I can maybe put one together tomorrow.
So we'll maybe have one for you tomorrow.
Been a little busy, Joe.
So you want to wrap it up?
We can take a quick break and then, we can take a quick break and then we'll come back.
All right, let's take a break. We'll come back, talk about what we got coming up for the spring, and we'll be right back. I should have. Suffering from an ankle sprain or a hit to the head? Did you know that a chiropractic adjustment can decrease ankle swelling by half and get your athlete back to their sport quicker? Or dizziness, brain fog can come from a neck subluxation. With 20 years of chiropractic experience, Dr. Andrea at Hornstein Family Chiropractic knows personally how chiropractic adjustments can get you back to playing your sport in no time. Request an appointment online at HornsteinFamilyChiropractic.com or call 701-672-1300.
Sometimes it's tough being a dad. Kids grow up fast. Hey girls, oh, love it.
Dad, what are you doing?
I'm TikToking.
Is he serious?
Don't even want me around anymore. You know when I first started noticing it? When I stopped getting hugs. Hugs mean a lot to a dad. So, with Command IQ, I found a way to get the hugs back. Watch.
Dad, the Wi-Fi is down.
Oh, let me see if I can fix it.
It's back. Thanks, Dad. You're the best.
With Command IQ, you can bring the hugs back.
No matter the time.
But you can't hear the music, that's right.
No.
That's okay.
Are we going now?
You can start talking now.
Oh, I didn't know that. Here, I'm trying to figure out what position I'm best sitting in here when I'm at the... Welcome back, everybody.
There you go. There you go.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Giants Coaches Show, and we're presented by Red River Communications and Red River Communications Cable Channel 28. Hugs are good.
I like that commercial.
That is a very cool commercial. So thanks to Red River Communications and Giants for presenting the Coaches Show. Our winter season finale is now complete, and we got spring season coming up just not too far away. Actually, our first scheduled, whether Mother Nature lets us do it or not, our first scheduled baseball game is April 2nd already. The Huskies are at home at John Randall Field, and I can't remember.
Are we going to get a snowstorm?
I don't know.
I mean,
Horace.
I would like to think that we're not, but this will be the first year where we've been able to do some early games in high school.
Yeah.
So it'll be good. It'll be nice.
Yeah, that will be April 2nd is our first scheduled game, and then
It's right around the corner.
We got some more baseball scheduled and a couple of girls softball games. We're going to do some BW Storm softball games as well. And right now on the schedule, we got 2 track meets.
Track meets are fun. They're long, but they're fun to do.
They're long, and as long as we got heat sheets, that makes it
Right.
easier
That
for
makes
us.
it a little bit easier for us. We know who's running in the race. We can keep track of what the next race is and all that stuff. So yeah, but they're fun. They're fun to do.
Yep.
And WAP's got a pretty good track team.
Yeah.
Yeah. So does Breck.
And we'll have all those coaches on when our coaches show.
We
start.
will. Flo.
I think our-
Spring coaches show. We will have all of those coaches on.
Yeah,
so.
we'll invite everybody, and if they can make it, they can make it, and we'll see what we can do. We're going to have our first spring coaches show actually on April 3rd, unless weather dictates different. We'll see how it goes. If weather well, there's already track meets going on. Didn't they have one last weekend?
No, they have one coming
It is
up.
coming
Indoor season starts. So,
Yeah.
I think they're at Concordia. They have a couple meets at Concordia. So I think that's coming up here this weekend, I think.
Okay. So, has Taya got the word yet? Is she going to do track or
We
don't
find
know
out
yet?
tomorrow.
Find out tomorrow.
Going back to the.
All right.
Got a couple 3 appointments tomorrow, so we'll find out where she
Big
is.
day tomorrow for Taya. All right. Well, we wish her well, and Olivia as well, and Jonica Bernatus, and whoever else is hurting out there. So that's going to wrap it up, bud.
That's about it.
We'll be back in a couple of weeks with our first spring coaches show. Keep an eye on our Three Borders Sports webpage. We'll have the schedule up there, and the schedule will show baseball games. If they get postponed, we'll do what we can to keep it on our schedule. Sometimes it gets doubled or tripled up on some things, and we might have to cancel something, and take it out of our schedule. Wednesdays are usually pretty good, so our coaches shows will stay about where they are, unless, like I said, April 3rd is our first scheduled coaches show. We can have a preseason one like that, but if weather dictates different, maybe we'll do something different.
Sounds good.
All right. All right, for Brian Watson, keep an eye on our webpage for any schedule changes. Brian does a good job of posting everything on our Facebook page too as well. We'll do what we can. So I want to thank everybody for the great winter season that we had here at Three Borders Sports Network. And on behalf of Brian and I and Raleigh, Julie, Camden Yards, Kelson, Adam and Evan Schreiner, all the guys that helped us with the cameras all winter long, we appreciate everybody and what they did for us here at Three Borders Sports Network. Good night, everybody.